welcome to the BiG Scuba Podcast. Thanks for downloading. Time to get on board and let's go diving. Mind those ropes.
My name's Nick. I'm on the BiG Scuba Podcast with Gemma and Ian. I've been diving for about 10 years now and looking forward to having a chat with you guys tonight.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the BiG Scuba Podcast. My name is Ian. I am one of the co-hosts. I'm not alone. With me is...
Hello, my name is Gemma. Welcome to the BiG Scuba Podcast.
Right from the top, let me tell you, these episodes are sponsored by the lovely people at Narked at 90. And Gemma, tell everybody, what are they?
No, they are beyond technical.
They're pointing the wrong way.
It's all about the wrong way.
Anyway, so thanks for downloading this podcast. What have you downloaded? First off, we're going to say thank you. But what have you downloaded? You have downloaded a scuba diving podcast. We talk about diving. We talk about scuba. We talk about learning to dive. We talk about all sorts of things, anything that's water and ocean related. If you've got some kind of connection to the great, lovely oceans out there, we want to hear from you. And we've spoken to many people already, haven't we, Gemma?
Yeah, and it's just talking to people to bring some inspiration about the underwater world, what you can get up to under the water and on the water as well.
Hence, we're sponsored by Narked at 90 because that's exactly what they get involved in. They're one of the biggest names out there in the diving world, and they support many divers, from brand new divers, all fresh and green face, all the way up to the salty divers who are down here at 120 odd meters on their rebreathers, and technical divers and everything else. We're all together, one big community, and we're all underwater.
Exactly. And we're not just talking about UK divers. Narked at 90 support. Narked at 90 are global. They're worldwide.
Bit like us, 150 odd countries.
Yeah.
5 years in, 213 episodes, Jen.
Yes. So you've got 212 episodes to go back and listen to. And yeah, there's a whole range of people that we've spoken to from around the world as well.
Yeah. And we're both divers, and we've got many dives between us, and we're recreational divers ourselves, and that's kind of the angle we're coming at. So,
yes, you are a dive master, and I am up to a paddy rescue diver.
Yeah, that's where we are. So coming up on this episode, we have another guest. We like to get guests on and talk to them about their diving career and what connection they've got under the water, and we ask them set questions at the end. And we also asked them a question as well, is like, what does the being underwater mean to them as well? And this is no different. So we're talking to a local lad called Nick Schiller, and he is on board, and he's going to be talking to us about how he got into the diving. He's a Sidemount diver, and he's done many things over there.
Yeah, he started diving in 2016. So relatively new diver, but yeah, he's done a lot since he started this journey. Yeah,
it's really good. So what have we been up to? We've been up to the NEC. We went to see our friends at Auto Trail, and also had a wander around with our good friend John and his sister
Anna. Yes,
Anna,
yeah, and it was the motorhome caravan and camping show that we went to. So we've been going to that for the last couple of years, since we started out with a Ford.
It's nice to feel the youngest in the place as well.
Yes, and fit and able. Yes, the motorhome show has a reputation for attracting the more mature generation. So I don't know how
just letting you dig your own hole. That's all right, no problem.
I don't know how to put it tactfully, but yes, there is an older generation that go to this show, so that's why we do say that we feel the younger ones there.
I know it is, and some awesome. So why do we go there? Well, because a lot of people dive in their transporters, their motorhomes, and people. We go on UK road trips and things like that. So, and I can think of quite a few people who either got self-build camper vans and motorhomes, out transits, and got also transporters and things. So it's kind of relevant as well because we need our transport to get there, don't we? We need transport to carry our kit, and we went to Spring Lakes where you can actually dive. You can actually stay, camp on site, and go dive the next day, which is pretty cool, isn't it? Not
It
many
is,
sites,
yeah.
not many sites in the UK you can do that.
Yeah, and we've kind of linked up with Auto Trail because we were attracted to their motorhomes and camper vans because
Yeah,
they have garages on where it's
big
really
garage.
easy to store your dive kit or paddle boards, anything to do wetsuits, to get them out of the way. Because we have had a previous camper van where we didn't have a garage and we just had to store all our kit inside. And then obviously when we were sleeping, eating, we had to put all the stuff outside, which is not convenient.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's good. There's so much to see. There's 11 halls, so
Mhm.
it's worth going to, certainly. And we have seen there's quite a few divers who go, and we've seen there over the years. And yeah, there was one there, what, 500,000, wasn't there? We could actually
Yeah,
drive a
a
car
car
into
into
the
it.
back of it, and there's the range is that most of them all had their 2026 range out there,
Mm.
and it was quite interesting because it didn't seem as though there was many on had the four-wheel drive side of things this time, where in previous years quite a few of them all had four-wheel drive and were jacked up
That you can't get into.
that you can't get into unless you've got massive great big steps.
Yeah, but there seems, I think because we have had a motorhome from Auto Trail and lived in it, driven it, we kind of like more the motorhome type vehicle than the camper van.
Being a caravanner, I've been a caravanner over the years, and I've enjoyed that. But it's also, I think, that as time goes on, I just see caravans as a bit more of a hassle. Where with a
Mm.
motorhome, you just got your bit like a tortoise, aren't you? You got your home on your back, and that's where it goes. And especially for like weekend trips and things like that, I think there's a nice side to that. Uh,
Convenience as
yeah,
well,
there's
isn't there?
definitely a convenience,
Yeah.
and you know, the interiors are so wellly
Mm.
made, aren't they, these days?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and there is such a range from obviously we like Auto Trail, but there are other brands out there and seeing the difference in their interiors and the way they're laid out, it's no small feat if you're thinking about getting a motorhome, actually deciding which one you want that works for you and is big enough.
I think that's what you got to think of first is one, why do you want one? And then two, what are you going to do with it?
Mm,
And then try and find something that's going to then fit those requirements
yeah.
rather than look at a motorhome and think, oh, actually, I like that. Because I think if you look at that way round and you just go on what you see and what appeals to you, you could quite easily pick the wrong one for you. For someone like me, I would go with one that's got a garage.
Mm,
That would have to be a big factor because I need to get my kit in there. I need to get dive kit in that needs to be, fairly substantial. By the time you get tanks in there, you can at least, need to get a few tanks in there. So it needs to be able to hold that weight as
yeah.
well. I'd want a permanent bed because I don't make my bed when I go to bed at
No.
night. I don't start going right. I now need to get the wood together to make my bed before I sleep on it.
Yeah, and
I
that's
want
the
to
beauty
go
of
to bed.
the Auto Trail one we had. It had a fixed bed and even had a pop-up, so
Yeah.
another bed as well if you wanted it. So yeah, it's so much easier than faffing about putting benches and slats of wood together to get into bed.
And with you upstairs, I had so much room.
Yeah, but yeah, it was just a good day out, and we caught up with John from Narked at 90, who is he's a camper van chappie,
Yeah,
isn't he? And his sister was with him. She's just got a VW. So yeah, we had a good catch up with John from Narked at 90.
yeah, yeah. And so I think the next show is coming up. I think it's about February time as well, which there's usually
Mm.
two. So put that in your diaries, and yeah, perhaps we might even see you there.
Yes, yeah. And there's always some speakers there. We saw, is it Wandering Girl?
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Wandering Girl Adventures.
she's got a motorhome and goes all over the UK and further afield and documents her journey.
Yeah, yeah. So do that. Or there was other stuff was there as well. I had a knee massage because I've got a bit of a dodgy knee going on at the minute, so it's all very nice. So very expensive, 1,400 quid. Well, not the
I
massage,
know.
but the piece of kit was. But
Yeah. Yeah. And then outside of that, you've had a weekend at Stony Cove.
Yes, that was really good. Really nice weekend. Saturday was really quiet. It was probably one of the quietest Saturdays I've been there for quite a while. I think they'd only sold about 80 tickets, and
Yeah.
then Sunday was busier. And Sunday seems to be at the moment probably a bit more busier than Saturdays. But yeah, all good. So hello to everybody who come and said hello. So I try and get the flag up in the usual spot, and with our Narked at 90 sponsored gifts to give away for anyone that does. And I've got a list of names, so I do apologise because I'm going to get these names wrong.
Butcher
I'm
the
sure.
names. Yeah.
But also, for my defence, I'm reading your handwriting. So if you do come along, just top tip, can you write so I can? Anyway, Jamie Uzi, could be Uzi or Oski. Ashley again, Selick or Selix, not sure. Then Rachel and Helen from Seed Changers, who actually are coming on to come talk to us about they're actually MBEs for all the work they've done with ocean related charities over the years. So that's pretty cool. They're both coming on to talk to us about their charity called Sea Changers later on this year. Shout outs to them and everyone who was at Crystal Sea Scuba
Yeah,
in
they
the
all did
school.
very well.
Everyone did really well. There was two open waters and an advanced course going on as well. And there was Darren had a team on Saturday teaching the
Scooters.
scooters. That's the word I was looking for, scooters. And also, I think there was a deep spec going on as well. So there was lots going on over the weekend.
Yeah, that's good. So, and then you're back there mid-November on Dive Master Duty again.
I am. So if you, I shall have the flag up. The van will be signposted. So if you do come say hello, leave your name right clearly so I can understand. You know, I do come from Norfolk, so give me a chance. Write it nice and clear, and come say hello, and we'll get a free gift for you.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So we mentioned we've got Helen and Rachel from Sea Changers coming on. We've also got Jason Pritchard, who is Jason the Argonaut. He's also big on Instagram.
He's got probably one of the most coolest Instagram accounts going.
Yeah. So he'll be coming on in the next few weeks.
Ian the Argonaut doesn't really work, do it?
No. Well, don't know.
Not really.
Yeah.
Jason the Argonaut does, because you think of the film, don't you? And fighting the mystical creatures.
You remind me of when we were at the NEC, we were talking about AI and stuff. We changed ourselves into superheroes, didn't we?
You did. I didn't. You did.
Yeah, it's the beauty of AI. It's amazing.
Yeah.
We've also just recorded recently an episode with James Sues, who's also known as Dive with Jimmy. He's got a dive centre in Bedfordshire, Milton Keynes.
Yeah, look him up. He's just got a brand new dive centre. If you don't know him, get in contact if you want to learn to dive, especially around that whole Midlands area.
Yeah. So he's been a previous guest before he owned a dive centre. And we spoke to him, that was a couple of years ago. He's ex-military, rebreather diver, and he's now potentially putting together an expedition to the Britannic in a couple of years' time. So pretty major trip that. So
it's pretty cool.
Getting that under control.
And he's dived that before, so it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and we've also got the Leanne Cullen Unsworth from the Seagrass project coming on.
Yeah, that's gonna be groovy.
Yeah, so it's good. We've got a good selection of guests coming
And we've
up.
got a site visit.
Yes, we have to the Midlands Dive Chamber later
looking forward
in
to that.
November. Yeah, so we're hopefully going to do a deep dive to take us down to 40 meters in the chamber.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be able to sort of record how that goes. I think that's, and then we're thinking this coming week.
Yeah,
towards the
we
end of the
currently
week.
it's the start of the autumn half term.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, so we're planning a little dive trip over a couple of days, but we're just waiting to see what the weather
yeah,
gives us and
we did
whether we.
promise because Honey wasn't very well when we went to Swanage, so it'd be interesting. I did promise to take her down to Swanage, but that's good. That's good 5+ hours from here, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it depends on what the weather's going to do, whether we go all the way down there or do we go up north to somewhere like Capernbray, where it's inland. But again, we're going to see what's sort of going on with the weather, really.
Yeah, we've got, I mean, obviously there's Stony Cove and there's Spring Lakes we've been to already, but if anybody out there has got any recommendations for dive sites that maybe we haven't mentioned, we're always willing to, sort of try somewhere new.
Yeah, we're thinking about Nîmes as well. We've mentioned that before, down in Kent. So we might probably go and give them a dive as well at some stage. Don't know anyone who's dived there, so if anyone's listening who's dived there,
Yeah,
let us
drop
know
us a
what you
message.
think. We think depth-wise about 11 meters.
Yeah.
So I've been told. So
Yeah. And we have done Fobster, we've done Raisbury, but yeah, if there's any other sites that we haven't done, then
yeah,
maybe they're a bit under the radar, let us know and we'll give them a go.
yeah, I don't really want to be more than about 5 hours away, really, because we'll be back on the Friday afterwards. So
Yeah, we've got the drive back. So unfortunately, we are in the east of England, and it's always a bit time constraining to get anywhere in this
it is,
country from
yeah,
where we
yeah.
are.
So
There
we'll
we go.
see. So that's coming up this week. So there'll be
Yeah.
more about that. We'll be sharing.
Yeah.
Very special days coming up.
We've got Sea Slug Day coming up this Wednesday.
Yay, sea slug. Now they just don't get enough mention, do they? The sea slugs.
We don't, no. So yeah, we'll do a little post about that.
You can
And
eat them, can't you?
I think so. Is that more Asia?
Oh, I think that's what I see. Those Korean, I think they're Korean, the ones who like live streaming as they catch and stuff. I think
Yeah.
that's I'm pretty sure that's what they're picking up. Sea slugs and crabs and all sorts.
Yeah. That's no, I think that's the only sort of memorable day that we've got coming up in the week.
I can think of another memorable day.
25th of December.
Yeah, so Christmas is coming. The goose is getting fat. Have you bought your dive buddy a Christmas present yet? If not, we've got a few gift ideas for you.
Exactly. You can go to obviously Narked at 90 have got all sorts of things for that diver in your life, or if you fancy buying yourself.
Nice little sheer water cover for your
Yeah.
dive buddy's dive computer.
Yeah, and we'll pop some links to our Amazon store where there are some really good books for
A new SMB.
Yeah. So there's plenty of different products. Don't forget, we are tied up with Waterhaul, who make sunglasses, glasses, litter picking equipment, all from recycled fishing gear, fishing net. So again, they make great gifts as well.
And McConk's paddleboards. So get ready for next year or even a winter paddle. Get a McConk's.
Yeah, today would be perfect for paddleboarding. It's maybe a bit, it was too windy yesterday, not particularly safe, I think. But yeah, today's a super sunny day in the UK, sunny Sunday.
Yeah.
And blue skies. And Happy Bottles as well. They are great little gift ideas for the Happy Bottle tumbler. They keep your drinks cold and they keep your drinks hot as well. So
And I should also mention Fourth Element because I bought a we can put links on all this as well. We have shared about this. So I've done some unboxing. So I recently bought their Seeker Clarity Mask. Dive for that. Really good. And that is Really nice. My old, nothing wrong with my Hollis mask. I just fancy a bit of a change. That's all. And that's always been a really good mask for me, the MK3. But I just fancied a change with the Seeker, and that has been a really nice, comfortable mask to wear. So yeah, like it. I should be
Yeah.
diving with that some again over the winter, really. And also, I've been using the petrol coat, the fourth element petrol coat for work, and I have to say,
Good. It
it's
looks
kept me
good as
very
well.
dry
Yeah.
and very, very warm. We had Storm Benjamin
Engine.
this week, and I've been out in it, and I can recommend it. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. No, and you've had t-shirts and gloves as well. You've
I know.
restocked your wardrobe.
I have. Yeah, it's cost me a fortune.
Yeah, but the thing with Fourth Element, we really believe in it, Fourth Element, because they're great quality and
They are good quality
motion
stuff. Yeah,
positive as well.
yeah.
Yeah, so
So,
we'll put the links to these places in the show notes so that you can click on them and head straight over to their websites.
yeah, brilliant. Right. I think that's kind of covered everything, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, just don't forget to go back through our back catalogue, have a listen, download, tell your friends.
Oh, I do want to mention one thing, actually. I just want to mention. So this episode is quite a long one. It's about 2 hours. We're talking to Nick. One of the things to listen out for is one of the things that Nick gets involved in is this recovery of a old World War II whaleback boat that was used wartime, and it's been used for other things after the war, and it's in a bit of a dilapidated state. Now they're trying to raise money. It's recovered by divers, and divers are involved in it, and it's got quite a history with it. And I think there's only two of these boats in existence now, because they're all wood, and unfortunately these things have rotted away or they've been dismantled or whatever. But they've got one, and they're trying to recover it, and they're trying to build the funds up to get it actually out of the water so they can then start, rebuilding it. So if you got an interest in World War II history, boats, sailing, or just history and things like that, and let's face it, most wreck divers do like that type of thing. Make sure you're listening out, and make sure you're following what they're up to with the recovery of this old whaleback boat, because it's quite interesting. That'd be really cool if we can all save it.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to mention, if you've got any funny dive stories or dilemmas, why don't you tell us about them? You can remain anonymous, and we can,
So
talk
glad
about
you said
them.
that.
Anonymous.
Yeah.
So yeah, just it adds another little feature to the podcast. If you want to partake, we look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Raise your hand with the class. Let us know, and let us know. Right.
Yeah.
Should we get Nick on?
Yeah. So this is Nick Schiller, episode 213 of the BiG Scuba Podcast.
Thanks for joining us and giving us some of your time, Nick. We've known each other all for a little while now, as you're based in Norwich, and we all dive out of fly the Crystal Sea scuba colours, don't we? And a question we ask everybody, and I've never asked you this, but so you're a diver, kayaker, sailor for a number of years. You're often found either on the water or below the water.
Mhm.
So what is it that attracts you to the water?
Oh, that's a great question. On it, in it, and under it. And actually, I live by it as well. So we
And
live by the river
Of course,
in
yeah,
Norwich.
you do, don't you? I forget you
We're
do.
literally, I'm looking at the river now out of my window.
Wow.
So there's a lot of different things about it, Ian, that attract me. There is the peace. There's something about. I remember when I bought this house, I found myself sitting on the steps before we did all the work on it out the back, and suddenly realised that an hour and a half had gone by and I hadn't actually done anything. And that's really not me. I'm one of these. I'm useless on a beach. I just don't. After half an hour, I've had enough. I want to go and do something.
Yeah.
So there's something really special about water, and I can't. And it doesn't matter if it's sea or river or waterfall or whatever or pond. But there's also an exhilaration. So, the sort of sailing that I'd like two sorts of sailing. I like the really old classic sailing, which is quite relaxed. But I also like the really fast and furious at the other end, stupid single-handers. There is nothing like getting a boat up on the top of a wave and surfing it in with a big blow behind you. I'm the kind of guy that everyone else is taking their rigging down, and I'm just thinking about putting mine up. I had a reputation for it at one point. And under the water, I think brings a whole new dimension because you're seeing stuff that most people never have the privilege to see, and that sense of weightlessness, and no one can talk to you. I
Yet.
remember when I was stressed at work, we used to sometimes used to go up before work at silly o'clock in the morning and do a dive at like 5 a.m. or something, and then go into work at night. And you couldn't get angry before about lunchtime because you were just chilled, man. There's something very special about that because you can't think about anything else because you're focused on what's in front of you and staying
Yeah.
alive. It's
Yeah.
it's very, very special place.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's one of the few places where we can get away from the modern life of mobile phones and things like that. And do we really want them to work underwater?
No.
Really?
No, I mean, I know people use them as their cameras,
Yeah.
but even having the screen in front of me underwater, I think would be triggering.
Yeah.
Maybe that's quite an extreme reaction, but I just don't. I really don't want it down there.
No.
It's
No.
so it's so nice not to.
So what came first with you?
Um, First was mucking about. I mean, when I was Diddy, we had my parents bought an old canvas canoe, which we had on the Wey River in Woking in Surrey when I was growing up. I mean, really small.
So your
Really.
parents were watery based, were they?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they came to it because there was a nice river, and and then we started mucking about in boats, and then we discovered we quite like mucking about in boats. And my father had gone to university with a chap whose father, so yeah, his father had bought a house in Burnham Overy Staithe when no one had ever heard of it, an old chapel, and he was evac there during the war, and then after the war, my father and he went up there for a couple of holidays, and then when we were about 5 or 6, he suddenly remembered and thought, we could have a cheap holiday up there because I've got a mate who's got a house. So off we went, and there it started. We went back every flipping year, and then there was one boat. Then we built a mirror dinghy. Then there was a 420. Then there was an Osprey. Then there was an
Wow.
Optimist. And then we ended up with a lot of boats. And then we bought a house, and and before you know where you are, you're boaty. And I sailed at school as well. Actually, we had sailing at school. So it started with canoes and sailing, really.
Yeah.
And then progressed.
Yeah. And I think sailing, being on the water, you either like it or you don't want to be there.
Correct.
It is very black and white. So I think, that's it.
You do get a particular group that are just the fair weather sailors who like a nice flat day with a G&T and a little boot lag on some shiny water. But those of us that like it when the green stuff's coming over the bow, you either like that or you just go, never again will I
Is
go
it the one
out.
where you hold on tight, is it?
Oh God, I've had a couple of greens. It's a green water, white water is splash, green water is buried bow, basically. and you do get it. And I remember coming out of Poole Harbour once on a very bad day, and we got too much sail up, and I was foredeck monkey at the time, so I was sent up forward to change the foresail out, and it was in the old days when you had to hank the flipping thing off the foresail and then hank a new one on. It was little like snap bolts going onto the foresail. And I was up on there with a harness on, clipped on, and it was getting worse and worse getting the sail down. And then we hit green, and I got literally drowned because I'd got taken straight down and back up out the other side. So I was then wet for the rest of the day because in those days we only had oilskins and they were bloody useless in comparison with the modern dry suit.
Yeah.
And still have a big silly grin on my face, actually. Because it's tremendous fun. It's not without risk, but it's tremendous fun. But a lot of people, and if you're seasick, then you're never going to enjoy it. If being in those conditions,
You're up and down, yeah. I've sailed on Alton Broad in a Catastrophe was the name, and been on a trapeze, and
Oh,
yeah,
great. Oh, great fun.
it is
Did
exciting.
you manage to stay on, or did you do the slippy round the bow move?
Oh, I've been round and all. Yeah, I was just.
Excellent.
My name was Jinx. So.
What was the boat's name?
Catastrophe.
Really?
Great name for a boat. Great name for a boat.
Yeah, yeah.
What was it? Was it
I can't remember the name.
was it a punt?
No,
Norfolk
no, it was
punt?
very
No.
fast. It had a carbon fibre. It was an old
No. It sounds
big.
like a Norfolk punt. 18-foot long, carbon fibre mast,
Yeah, yeah. I'll have
and
to let you know because I've got
and
pictures of it,
and
and
two on the wire. So both the helmsman and the crew can go out on a
could
trapeze.
be. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
probably a
But
Norfolk punt. They're crazy boats.
yeah, I've been on the trapeze, and Eric, who was the helm, just disappeared off the back, and I was on
Oh,
my
excellent.
own. So it's just.
So where?
Yeah,
How do you mean he disappeared off the back?
he slipped off the back.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had it. I remember going out on a similar style of boat, slightly different one, and I was helming, threw myself across the boat, kicked my feet under the toe straps, completely bloody missed the straps. So your toes are then up. You then lost your balance, straight out the back, gone. And the crew's out on the wire,
It's just like
like
fine.
you, looking and going, oh dear, I'm going to get very wet in a minute. Sure enough, plop, in goes the boat, and then you just
Yeah.
got to swim up, get the boat up, and crack on. But yep, I've had that happen. I've
Wow.
also had missed the trapeze. So I've gone flying out, thought I wanged it on, missed it, took my hand away, and just fell straight in the water off the side of the boat. You feel a bit of an idiot when you do that. But anyone who says they haven't done it, who's been on a wire, is kind of telling you porkies, because we've all done it once or twice at least.
Wow.
Yeah, anything can happen.
You just get wet. And with dinghies, the thing with dinghies is basically as soon as one of the crew falls off, the boat falls over.
Yeah.
And then it stops. And then you go and sort it out. So it's not a huge issue. You just get wet.
Yeah.
It
looks more spectacular than it is.
Well, it's a good introduction to the water. Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of your scuba diving journey, how did that begin?
Well, I noticed when you have those things that you've been meaning to do for ever, one of those. And then I met Inga and we started going out, and she's been diving since Adam was a lad. So she's on, what's she on? 800, 850, something like that, dive master. And I thought, great opportunity. Let's get it done. So next thing I knew, I was doing a referral course with good old Crystal. So I did my pool sessions and used to have this before online. We did proper classroom sessions with Chris and Polly. And then fortunately, Inga's instructor, who she'd met somewhere somewhere nice, like the Philippines or Thailand, somewhere out there, I can't remember now, was working in Hurghada, and he lived in Hurghada. And so we went out there, and he very kindly did all my open water for nothing on a day boat, which is run by his mates. And so I did that. I did my advance, and I did my nitrox all in a week.
Brilliant.
Wow.
And thought, this is nice. I'm enjoying this. And then actually also on that same boat, there's a fantastic Egyptian instructor called Abdu, who was diving monkey, side mount, single tank side mount. And I sort of, as a new diver, you go, what's that? And he said, oh, this is side mount, different technique, blah, blah, blah. And he could see it on my face, I think, and he said, do you want to go? I said, yeah, I'd love to.
This episode is brought to you by Narked at 90, the cutting-edge pioneers in the world of diving equipment. Meet the founders, John Routley and Brent Hudson, who have logged thousands of mixed gas dives over the past 3 decades. About 20 years ago, these experienced technical divers combined their passion for diving and engineering skills to create Narked at 90. Whether you're new to diving and ready to take it up a notch, have a fair amount of experience, or are considering a transition into technical diving, we highly recommend Narked at 90. They're ready to advise on the best equipment and setup for your personal and commercial needs. Narked at 90 also has extensive hands-on experience with shearwater and ratio dive computers, being the longest serving UK service centre for these brands. They're ready to offer technical support, servicing, repairs and upgrades for all shearwater and ratio computers past and present. In addition to Shearwater and Ratio, Narked at 90 stocks and supports many other brands, such as Divesoft, JJCCR, Hollis, Revo and Kiss rebreathers. The diving community is always enthusiastic about Narked at 90, and it's easy to see why. Here are just a few reasons. Full head servicing for rebreathers from various manufacturers, bespoke cable assemblies, advice on specific fitting requirements, suggestions and guidance for home builds, computer laser cutting and engraving, CNC milling and turning, pressure testing to simulate 400-metre dives. We're thrilled to partner with Narked at 90, a company that has ignited so much passion for diving and has been incredibly supportive and innovative in producing and selling dive equipment. Visit narkedat90.com to see why they're a renowned name in diving. Stay updated on their insights and offers by following them on social media. Just search for Narked at 90 on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram and hit that follow button.
So we swap rigs. So we had my tatty old travel rig, which I bought on eBay. And I went and dived his Sidemount rig. It came up and go, right, how do I get trained in this? And as you know, I basically dived nothing but Sidemount.
I do want to learn that because I think it would be something to
the people new. To do it. The people to do it with is Barry and Sam, because both of them basically dive Sidemount. That's what they do.
Do they teach it as well? Yeah. Do they?
Barry's a paddy qualified Sidemount. He taught me to dive.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, he photography people. Yeah.
He did my Sidemount course. They both dive Sidemount all the time. So they tend to dive 10-litre 232s.
Do they?
Yeah, they dive a rig that I don't particularly like, which is a rig that can also be used as a back mount rig. So you can use it both ways around, but in my view, there's drawbacks to it. The one thing I would say about Sidemount, absolutely do not buy anything until you've tried it, worked out what sort of Sidemount diving you want to do, and then start thinking about what rig you want, because there are lots of different style rigs and different ways of rigging, and you can very quickly spend your several £1,000s and end up going, yeah, but I don't like that. Actually, I want a stealth, And you need to try a few different. I've got a couple of rigs that I mean, a lot of people gravitate to one answer in the end, which is X-Deep.
X-Deep, yeah.
X-Deep stealth. It's bulletproof. I mean, so I had the X-Deep Stealth Tech, which is the higher lift capacity. So it's a 22 kilo lift, I think, and then it's got redundant in it as well. So it's twin bladder. So because I've had a bladder go, and it's
yours X-Deep what? Sorry,
Stealth.
Oh,
Stealth Tech. So there's stealth rec and stealth tech. So there's recreational and tech, and the difference is the size of the bladder, and the fact that you can put the redundant as an addition on the tech, and the webbing arrangements are slightly different. But actually, the webbing arrangements are kind of academic, because the first thing you'll do is take it all apart and put it together how it suits you. And so mine is, so the classic way is back under the shoulders and into the middle of the spine at the back. I don't have particularly square shoulders, so I have stuff that tends to float off my shoulders. So I have H straps; they go straight down the front. I have brakes in mine, so I can get it off on the ribs.
Who told you about all that, Sam? And
no, it's the thing about side mount rigs is they're completely adjustable. You can do what you like with them. And there's loads of Facebook groups, so there's lots of anal people out there who'll tell you about this stuff. Basically, you just go and have a crack, and then you go, you know what, I'm finding this a bit uncomfortable. Put it on a Facebook group, and someone will go, oh yeah, well, if you go to Sump, they make these nice stainless steel brackets that you can put in here and just change that around like that, and then it works true. Because the rigs, it's not like a BC where you put it on, pull the straps, you do it, you come bum, pull the straps. That's it, isn't it? You're in.
Yeah.
We haven't got any of that. It's all fixed distances.
Yeah.
So you're trimming it up for you. Your weights are all down your spine. You can't get at them. Once they're in, they're in. They're in pockets down your spine. And everything's so where your bottles end up you'll be wanting to adjust that to get your trim right. So you might want to move them a bit towards your feet if you've got floaty feet, move them down a bit or up a bit or whatever. So everybody rigs their bottle slightly. Some people use tubular clips. I use cam bands, different snap bolts, different arrangements of where they clip on. And it's a matter of getting comfortable then it depends, you know, if you're going cave diving, you need to rig them differently to the way I rig. And if you're rigging aluminium, so if you're diving in a wetsuit and you're diving aluminium cylinders, then you rig completely differently because then you have sliding Ds. So as the tails get light and the cylinders start to do that, you move them around your waist to pull them back down and keep them tight to you. Whereas with steels, you don't have that problem. You just hook them on your back and they stay there. They're heavy. So it's, but yeah, the thing with Sidemount is you start and then you just play. And I'm still playing with my rig. I'm still adjusting my rig.
Yeah, we did a try dive on Sidemount.
I really liked it.
Yeah, and there was lots of adjusting going on, to get us, sort of in the water. But
yeah, and if you're doing it in the type that Barry and Sam have got, they are more like BCs. You can just adjust them. I mean, the way my rig's set, if I needed to adjust it for someone, it'd take an hour and a half, 2 hours to reset it because it's all fixed. It's not sewn, but it's all fixed through multiple glides. The thing is, once it's set up, I know where every clip and where everything is on that rig, and the side mounters get very obsessional about how streamlined we are. So if you look at me in the water, all you can see is my profile. So if I dive whichever one it might be, I've got no other equipment that's showing everything's smooth in line with me.
Yeah.
There's nothing hanging off, unless I'm carrying a rec reel and it's, maybe if I haven't clipped it off at the back, that might be dangling in front, but nothing else. It's all gone.
Have you seen Patrick Woodman? And he holds that. He's on side mount, and he holds buoyancy with no fins.
Yeah, I have seen him do it. I've never tried.
Controlling his breathing like that, amazing.
I've never tried doing it. I mean, it is
completely rigid.
If you get your buoyancy cock on, in Cozumel actually, I was absolutely. I was diving monkey, so I was diving on single on the side in a 5, I think, and I got that. It was done, perfect. And you just hold. But I've never actually taken my fins off. But
what fins do you use?
Usually I wear, so it depends what I'm in wetsuit. I tend to use a bigger, lighter set, which is a set of Marais.
Right.
In my dry suit, I've got a pair of the old force fin accelerators.
That's what I've got.
Big, stupidly expensive ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've got.
I love them. Absolutely love them.
Got mine off eBay. Yeah, I really liked them.
I've got 2 pairs, one hidden away in the loft for when I knacker up the first one.
Yeah, somebody was selling them on eBay one day. I was like, I'm having them.
Yeah, because Chris likes them as well. I love them. I think they are absolutely fantastic fins. And they're nice and short. They've got a lot of power in them. They've got a lot of weight in them.
I can literally just do this, and I can keep up with all of them.
Yeah.
I literally hardly move. I don't move my legs hardly, and like going backwards, it's just a flick, just little flicks.
Yeah, they're really nice. They're really, really nice fins. But I find in wetsuit, in the semi with the steel cylinders, they trim me down at the tail.
Okay.
So sometimes, because I can't be asked to adjust everything else to trim it back the other way, I could just whack a weight in the top or whatever to trim back the other way. I'll just put a pair of lighter fins on, and I've got a set of old Marais. What are they? The yellow.
Because the RK3s, aren't they buoyant or the semi-buoyant or something?
I don't know. I thought they were neutral, but
Why the cave divers like them?
Yeah. The cave divers are a funny mob. They are a funny mob because they're going in a bloody cave. So
we know some of them.
Yeah, I mean,
looking at wet rocks. Yeah.
They're talking about taking the second stage apart underwater and cleaning it out because they've just dragged it through mud. You know, you have to be mad if that's part of the plan. I mean, having it as a backup, get out of jail, but part of the plan is cleaning your regulators while you're diving.
Mad.
You need to. I mean, we did the cenote thing, and it was fun, but I sort of going, yeah, but there's nothing much to look at. And it is actually potentially really quite dangerous because you've got no way out. You know, if it goes pear-shaped, you are properly in the shitter here.
Yeah.
I did some proper blackout up here. I did a sewer pipe for someone which had been broken with an anchor. I had to replace a section. It's really, so we cut the section out about 1.5 meters long, section of 100 mil. Put a 65-litre bag on it in 1.5 meters of water, balloons bag up. Fucking thing didn't move an inch. Okay, good. Put a second 65-litre bag on it, blew it up, still didn't move an inch. And you go, oh, come on, it's only a piece of plastic pipe. Got a weight on it, obviously. Anyway, so I copped hold of it. I was with Sean, actually. Copped hold of it underwater, gave it a good whang like this, and all of a sudden, up it goes, you know. Had 2 massive steel weights on it like this,
Wow.
huge steel plate weights. Well, Sean struggled to lift them out onto the pontoon. That gives you an idea of how heavy they were. No, got it all out. Got the new piece of pipe cut to the length that I'd cut the old one, of course, and then I had to put it back in. But it's the broads.
Mm.
I literally, with a 2000 lumen torch there, I couldn't see the torch. I did it in complete blackout.
Wow.
Just swirls of poo, isn't it? Just, yeah.
Heat.
Anyway.
Yeah.
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 So what appeals more to you for the side mount compared to like a single tank?
I love that. Well, at a very practical level, as a more experienced diver, the redundancy, the access to the tanks, the fact that I can get at anything, I can, you know. And while we do a lot of our diving as buddy pairs, the truth is, Inga's offered taking some pictures, or if I'm with someone else, they're rootling around trying to get a lobster out of a corner or whatever it is. If you're in trouble, you need to be able to look after yourself.
Yeah.
And you've got so many ways out of jail with side mount in comparison with, you know, all this stuff up around your back. So there's a very practical reason why I dive it. There's also practicalities about things like shore diving. You know, I can drag 2 300-bar cylinders down the beach separately and my scooter, put them all down there, get changed in the car park, get everything on, and then literally walk 2 yards with the weight on my back in and out of the water. And I'm not having to hunker the whole rig down because it's all in bits, you know.
Yeah.
But in the water, it's the flexibility. It's not having that rigid thing up your spine.
Yeah.
And it's the stability. I mean, you have to actively go vertical if you want to with side mount. If you're trimmed up properly, as soon as you're in the water, you're horizontal and you're going to stay perfectly horizontal. So you know, if you're wanting to do anything, it's just a very, very stable platform to work from. So I like it. You know,
so is it 212s or 210s you use?
I use 300-bar 8s.
Yeah.
So they're
Wow.
about equivalent to 11 point something liter 232 12.
Right.
But they're much denser because they've got thicker walls. So even with a very buoyant waterproof D1 dry suit, which is the hybrid with the membrane with the 3D mesh in it, I don't carry any lead at all. No, actually that's not true. That suit's a little bit ankle floppy, so I've got 0.5 kilo on my ankles, just because otherwise it tends to trim up nasty. And they're only 140 rather than the bigger cylinders. So trim wise, the outside of my cylinders is no wider than my shoulders. So from a forward profile point of view, essentially it's just me in the water in terms of forward resistance. So I've got 300-bar 8s, 300-bar 7s. I've got a couple of those, which are really nice for a shore dive, but just a little bit less air. Inga's got a couple of 300-bar 6s that I sometimes use on a shorter dive. So you've got bags of air and nothing to carry.
So weight-wise, they're not like, they're lighter than a 12 litre?
No, they're about the same. So they're about the same weight as a 12, but because so a 12's 170 millimeter diameter, I think. And these are the same size as a bailout 7, so they're 140. So if you think about the density, the set you've got, they're roughly full. They're about 16, 17 kilos, which is about the same as a 12, but they're displacing a lot less water.
Yeah.
So therefore they sink. So they're fully empty, flat broke empty. I mean, at 40 bar, they are still over a kilo negative each.
They're what, sorry?
They're over a kilo negative each. They're about 1.5 kilos negative.
Really?
Yeah.
So as you deplete the air while you're underwater, you don't get more and more floaty.
Well, you do. I mean, you obviously do, because I mean, I'm carrying what, 4.5 kilos of air, give or take, with those cylinders full. Same as you would be in a twin set. It's about that sort of weight about. So you're losing that much weight. But the way I set my buoyancy, I don't know if other people do it like this, but the way I set mine up is I go out on a dive in with the rig. I find myself a nice 5 meter, 4 meter place to stop, ideally somewhere I can lie down if I'm carrying lead, which I don't anymore. Blow the cylinders off manually. So I literally just take one out, reg out, and just blow it down to about 40 bar, both sides. And then I just pass lead to a buddy until either I can't hold it anymore, or I run out of lead. And I now run out of lead with those cylinders, so I don't do it anymore. But that's the only thing that really matters, is having enough lead on to hold that stop at the end with an empty cylinder.
Yeah.
Any more than that, you're just overweighted.
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes if I haven't quite drained my suit down, I need to swim it down the first meter. I'll just duck dive and just bum, and then off you go.
I keep saying I'm going to do side mount, and that's hearing you talk about it kind of gets me
well. As soon as I'm
again.
back in the water, I'll be very happy to take you out for a dive and pop you in my
I've done I've done twin sets, done all that and dived with twin sets, but I've got the whole issue of trying to reach behind me. I've short arms and restricted mobility.
Yeah, but also you put yourself in a dry suit, and it
makes it worse.
I think most people are lying and they can't get to that valve in the middle. If the truth
I can't.
Be known.
I always struggle to get there.
But the thing with the side mount, you've got your regulator, and the valve is literally in your armpit here.
Yeah.
And I've had it. I heard I was in Egypt last time we were diving, and on the long hose, on the right hand hose, on your 2 meter, you've got some people have a universal, which is what I have, and it blew out. It just undid itself. It just needed tightening up while I was using it. So shut it down, swapped onto the other regulator, put it back together again, screwed it up tight with my dive knife, checked it, all okay, put the regs back on, carried on the dive. The dive guy didn't even notice it had happened. Now, if that had happened on a twin set, honestly, by the time you've mucked about, there'd be drama. There'd be drama. There would be drama. Yeah. But you could grab the bottle by the neck, pull it forward, and it's here. It's in front. You can look at it while you're closing the valve down.
Yeah.
And it's so easy. It
makes sense as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's so easy. I mean, theoretically, I've never done it, and I don't wish to. But if you were carrying, say, 3 cylinders or 4 cylinders, because it's relatively easy to carry 4, and you had a regulator failure on, say, you're coming up and you had an accelerated deco, and that regulator wasn't behaving, you can change the regs underwater if you want. You want to get it serviced afterwards, but literally just take one off another cylinder, put it across, and off you go. One purge, you blow the water out through the reg. I say you need to get it serviced afterwards, so you just filled it with salty water, but it will work. You couldn't do that with it over your back.
No. It's almost like you'd have to take your whole thing off if you got into a real pickle.
So much weight on your back with them twin sets, especially twin 12s.
Yes,
that must be what, 60 kilo?
Well, you're looking, so I mean, each cylinder is about 17 kilos ish. So 30, 34, plus whatever lead you're carrying. So say 40, plus a back plate, plus the wing, plus whatever else. Yeah, I mean, my rig doesn't weigh much less, but it's in bits. That's the difference. The one bit of faff I will say, and I've got pretty good at it now, but the one bit of faff which people slightly object to sometimes is if you're getting back on board on a rib or something like that. You can take it off in a oneer. Mine's actually rigged so I can get it off in a oneer. But generally you're passing cylinders up. So you take one cylinder off, pass it up, take another cylinder up, pass it up, and then take the rig off. So you can't easily, unless you customize your rig as mine is, ditch the whole rig because of the way it wraps all around you.
Yeah.
But how often do you actually need to be able to do that?
And it depends what sort of diving you're doing, whether you're doing shore diving, it's not everybody's thing, boat diving.
No.
Do you remember when we were at Portland doing Chesil Beach and the crews were there doing Sidemount, and we had the tanks on the back and we were lumping down the shingle down there, and they just went walking down there, plonked their tanks by the water, and then went back, sorted the stuff out, and then walked back, got into the water, hooked up, and off they went.
And when I go shore diving solo, if I'm going with a scooter, I'll generally take Inge's scooter as a backup and hook it off on the back and just tow it behind me. So I'm taking 2 scooters and 2 cylinders down.
Blimey.
Yeah, but it's no worries because you just walk them down one at a time.
What scooters have you got?
We've got Suex.
Mm.
And
because they've now got a new VR out, haven't they?
They have, yeah, and I haven't had play. So the ones we've got are the old VR.
It's so tempting at the Go Dive show.
Yeah, I've been looking for Eons because I'm not a great one for buying new gear. I've been looking for Eons for scooters on eBay and etc. Anyway, this pair of scooters turned up last year. Yeah, last year, and they were apparently 8 hours old, basically brand spanking new, with flight batteries in them and backup batteries.
Wow!
And they, for the pair of them, was essentially the same price as one new one.
No way.
So I dropped this guy a note and said, "You're going to have to tell me a really good story because this is too good to be true, and you know what internet and too good to be true means." Anyway, he said, "Yeah, I'm a commercial diver. I do a lot of documentary and film work. We were doing some filming for a feature film in Spain in a tank. Needed to create a current for the image, and the big Goldfinger scooters we use are so long they were getting in the shop. So we went out and bought a pair of these, done all the shots now. So they're just in the way in the garage. If you want them, you can have them. So it's fine. When can I pick them up?" So then we've got two of them. And they transform. I mean, there are certain things you can do with them you just can't do without.
So how has it changed your diving from before and after?
I think a couple of ways. I mean, shore diving, you can get to places you can't get to without them, just by virtue of the fact, you can get there, but by the time you get there, you'd have to turn around and come back. And also you can play with the tide. So you can go in, if you're going further off, you can deliberately go in, say 20 minutes early, and then do what sailors call a ferry glide. So if you've got the current coming down like that, if you point like that across the tide, you will actually go like that. Even though you're powering in that direction, you'll actually go in a straight line. So once you work out your ferry glide angle, you can still go north or wherever you want to go. You get out there, so you spend maybe 20 minutes going out while the tide's dropping off, have an hour wherever it is, and then 20 minutes back. No, you just couldn't do that without. So places I can go. On the wrecks, I think the big difference is, I remember the first one I did was with Peter Houston. And we went down on this wreck. I can't remember which wreck it was now. Hook was in the boiler. And Peter was going off on the normal reel. And I, whizzed off. So by the time he got from the boiler to the bow, had a bit of a rootle around and gone back to the boiler in his dive. I've been around the wreck twice and had a really good look at it from above. Then had a good old rootle in a couple of bits that looked interesting. Then come back and seen him a couple of times, make sure he was still there and alive. So you get a perspective in relatively good views. You get a perspective of the wreck, which is completely different because you can get away from it and you can overlook it, and you can just cover a lot more ground.
Yeah.
It's lazy, but you can cover a lot more ground.
How the batteries on them, how long do they last roughly?
If you're being sensible, you can get 90 minutes out of a battery.
Really?
Yeah. If you go onto high speed, which I don't use that often, the only time I really use the high speed is if I'm going into a tide, then that's about 60 minutes. But on normal speed, it's about 90 minutes on a charge.
So can you use it and then charge it up while you're on site, or if you got to wait till you get home?
You could do. I mean, it's a standard 13 amp socket charge.
Right.
They're not the fastest chargers, but fortunately they came with 4 batteries, so we just have another set of batteries in the car, and they take Yeah, actually, I'm not going to say it's a couple of minutes. To do it properly, it takes about 10 minutes because you really have to make sure you get your rings clean, and
Yeah, I bet.
you really don't want to leak across that. That would be embarrassing. But yeah, I mean, you have to have the nose cone off if you're changing from salt to fresh anyway, because you'll change all the ballast weights. Because when they're set up right, they are literally perfectly neutral. They just, if you let them go, they just sit there wherever you let them go. But there's a few tricks you have to learn with them, particularly working in a current. Like I've got a line on both ends. One of those hooks has to be connected to something solid at all times, because it's so easy to do that, and then you've lost £2,500 worth of gear.
Yeah.
Just like
If
that.
you're in tide and that's it, you're not going to swim to catch it up, are you?
Gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but no, I really enjoy them. It is a bit more faff. It is yet another piece of heavy equipment, but it does open up aspects that you can't. But then for other dives, I mean, the dive when I had my accident, we were actually looking for some old Victorian glass, which I found some. For that sort of thing, they're just a pain, because you're going to a specific location, you're doing something, you don't want another great big lump of something floating around when you're trying to do that. So horses for courses.
But then can you not tie it off and then go?
Yeah, what you can do, I mean, what I do if I'm doing something where I am doing something like that, and so you've got on the back, you've got a yoke, which is what you tow off, and then on the front, I've got a painter, which I do up with a quick release, basically a series of loops into themselves, so it shortens it up so it can't get into the propeller, but it's 1.5 meters long with a snap bolt on the end, and you just put that onto the D on your butt plate. So you just clip it off at the back, give it a push, and it just sits out 1.5 meters behind you, and you can swim perfectly happy with it out there, because that's then longer than your fins.
Yeah.
So it just sits just past the end of your fins, and it'll just follow you around. So you can take it. You can always take them with you, but if you're not going to need it, there's no
point.
No, it's just another thing to have to. It's another thing.
Yeah.
And on that day, I had a mud lifter and another 12-litre cylinder to drive the mud lifter, so I didn't really want the scooter as well. Too many things.
Yeah. So diving wise, what's your kind of, is it wreck diving, marine life? Have you done cave diving? What's your thing?
All of the above. I mean, I do most of the diving that Inga and I do is what we call squidgy diving. It's the natural history that's growing on things that we're looking at, and yeah, that's most of what we do. But having said that, we do a lot of wreck diving, partly to look at what's growing on there and partly to look at the wreck. I also do quite a lot of just practical help out diving. So I've got a rope around my propeller. I've got a tarpaulin around my propeller. I've lost my wedding ring. I've lost my mobile phone. My sewage pipe has been pulled up by an anchor, etc. So those are quite amusing, because they can be they're not very deep or anything, but they can be technically quite challenging. Usually in cold water for some reason. So it doesn't. Or the old boat that I spent several dives plugging holes in her so we can actually pump her out. I kind of don't mind, providing it's in the water. I'm definitely not into the deeper, darker, longer stuff. It's not. Maybe I'm too old. If I was younger, perhaps I'd get into the rebreather and all that stuff. But actually, what I found is I go deeper, I don't find anything much more interesting than I'm finding in the shallow. It's just darker, and it takes a lot longer to come back.
Yeah.
And if it does go wrong, you are significantly isolated.
That's where I find my boundaries are. Is like after about 45 minutes, I'm kind of like done.
Yeah.
60 minutes, I'm kind of done. The thought of being down there for hours on end, I'm like, not really.
We do quite long dives sometimes. I mean, there's one of the ones that I really like doing at Weybourne and I'm going to say you can't miss it. And actually, the last time I did it, I did miss it. So you can miss it. We don't walk down the beach at Weybourne, so we go straight over the top
Yeah.
from the car park, straight in and down. Go in half an hour early, and then we do a drift dive down
Yeah.
at the shallow end, basically at the bow. Hit the wreck, spend an hour on the wreck, and then we do a drift dive back off the stern, half an hour back. So typically it's a 2-hour dive.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, you're knackered. You've had enough. But that's a beautiful dive.
Yeah, I did that with Steve Stafford one
Did you?
day. Yeah. Because he knew what bearings to take from that, and you go straight out the car park, and we hit the wreck, and then we did it all the way back as well, and
Yeah.
that was good. It do save the walk.
Yeah, it's a nice dive, and we got ourselves in Agada. We managed to persuade them that we were going to do some night diving, and they do a night dive off the back of the boat on the jetty. And actually, it sounds crap, but it's amazing. Under that jetty, you can easily spend an hour just on this little tiny jetty. There's so much cool stuff down there. Anyway, every evening we were just pushing it on and go on, you'll be all right with 80 minutes. You'll be all right with 90 minutes. Anyway, on the last night we got it up to 2 hours.
Wow.
Well, it's at 5 meters, and you're not doing anything, so you can easily do 2 hours on an 11 liter.
Yeah.
So and then at 2 hours on the nail, we heard the spanner on the ladder. Come on, you buggers, up you come. And I'm going, I've still got 50 bar. I've got another 20 minutes.
If you've got stuff to see, though, that's the beauty
Yeah.
of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You want to stay down there. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a place where, particularly at night, you can literally just move inch by inch by inch, and every little bit you move on, you go, oh look, there's another little tiny whatever it might be. It's just great. I love night diving. There is something about night diving that's just magical.
Yeah.
A little puddle of light, and you never know what's just outside your puddle of light. It's
different
so
stuff.
quiet. Oh yeah, it's so quiet, so peaceful. No boat noise. Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah. So in terms of diving, are you more UK based and particularly East Anglia based diving?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of total number of dives, I guess half my dives ish are going to be around here.
Yeah.
We've done quite a bit in Wales. I've done quite a bit down in Cornwall at Porthcarris.
Yeah.
North Wales as well, actually. Anglesea's really nice, and Farne Islands and blah blah blah. And then occasionally we get lucky. Like Inga had a job in Mexico, and a piece of kit got broken. Had to get back to America to be fixed, so she was stuck out there for 10 days waiting for the kit to come back. So I flew out, and we went and played around in the caves and did some of the cenotes, which was interesting, and went on Cozumel for a week diving there. But it just worked out because all it cost us basically was the flight, and the diving, my flight and the diving, because she was already out there and they were paying for the accommodation. So
why not?
What's not to like?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it's about 50-50, because the other thing is when you go away, if you do a liverboard, you clock up a hell of a lot of dives in a short time. So that probably pulls it that way a bit. But if there's water, I'll go in it.
Yeah, and we're very lucky on the east coast of England. Yeah, or the East Anglian coast. Yeah, what we've got here when the diving's good.
Yeah, it's gone away a bit early this year by the looks of it. The guys are still hoping to get out. They didn't get out on Sunday because they had a problem, but hopefully there might be. It looks like it's staying flat for a bit. So might get more. I don't know. I guess the inshore visa's gone now. I haven't been up to the coast recently, but I'm guessing the inshore visa's gone.
I think we saw somebody post at the weekend, and there was no viz until 40 meters out, and then there was only 1 meter viz. So that didn't sound much fun. No.
That's braille diving.
Yeah.
I mean, braille diving's fine if you've got a very specific thing that you need to do, but as a pleasure activity, probably not.
No.
Meter's not enough.
No.
I like to be able to see where I'm going. Otherwise, I don't have the patience with it. I'm like, oh, well, I might as well just call it. If I can't see where I'm going, what's the point?
And it's the same for inland sites. When we've been to like Stony, it's just like no fun if you can't see anything.
I honestly, if I will use Stony and Gildy, you know, all credit to the places. I'll use nowadays. I'll use them if I need to test some gear.
Mm.
Other than that,
Yeah.
not so much. It just doesn't.
Well, they're
appeal to me.
training lake, aren't
Yeah,
they?
and
You know?
and for that they're perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect. It's safe, it's contained, and actually, people ask me about it. I quite often say to them, look, if you go to Stony and the viz is a bit not good, and it's cold, and you come out and you've enjoyed it, you're really going to enjoy diving.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
frankly, it's not that interesting, and it's a bit cold and it's a bit dark, and that's not what we do. You know, so in some ways it does act as a sort of filter.
I did see something really interesting yesterday, though, to be fair.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. And this is a bit of a weird one, really. We were right at the top. So I was on DM duty, and
Mhm.
we'd been at the back of the cockpit, and we then thought we'd go up past the bus stop
Mhm.
and near where Richard's plaque is. And along there, there's like a big slab of concrete with some sort of legs that have been cut off of
Right.
something, you know, sitting there, bold as brass, all perfectly lined up in perfect formation, were the three big perch, all lined up next to each other in perfect formation, in the same angles, the whole lot, to the point where they didn't look real. They looked like plastic. I would love to have my camera on me
Yeah,
to have
just
got a
yeah,
picture,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, but
How
it was
bizarre.
like, wow, look at to see them lined up like that.
How curious.
Yeah,
I did my, I think it was 300. Anyway, some quantity like that. And I can't remember what we were doing in Stony, but we were doing something in Stony. I got a picture a bit further, roughly the same, but shallower, where you're talking about. You know, there's that patch of green where the pike always hang
yeah,
around.
Mm.
I got a picture of me and the pike with
really.
the pike about that far away. I was sneaking up on it, just seeing, when you just keep and seeing
Yeah,
how quick with Inga taking the photograph each time you move a little bit closer.
they're
But
very tolerant, those pike.
they are, but they do have that expression of when you're going to sod off so I can get on with
Yeah,
some fishing.
Yeah, why are you here?
They've got a grumpy face, the pike. I don't
yeah.
blame them. I mean, they must,
We're in their space.
we're in their space and we keep turning up and making a lot of noise and bubbles and, don't really add anything to the party, frankly. So,
Yeah.
But
it's,
yeah, it does change, Stony, I suppose,
Yeah.
with visibility and the
oh, it
fish,
does.
and,
Of
yeah,
course it does.
people, and
And it's
yeah.
and it's a nice community and it serves a great purpose. As I say, I mean, I did a lot of training there and it's a great environment for training because you haven't got to worry about the tide, the weather, the wind,
Yeah.
etc. And if you do get cold, there's somewhere you can go and have a warm shower and blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
and there's Nemos as well. Should
All
mention them.
should mention them. All of the above. It serves a purpose. But I think once you've done it, then you want to go and dive some stuff where there's something a bit more interesting to look
Yeah.
at. And it is a new set of challenges. I mean, when we get people who've relatively recently qualified and introducing them to the reality of what a wreck looks like and what it's like rolling off a boat with, I don't know, a 1 meter rolling sea. There's a few extra skills but they've got the basics. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be trying to teach the basics out there in the
No.
bumpy stuff. You need someone who basically got buoyancy control and competence before you start going mucking about
Yeah.
with wrecks. But it's but there are those who love Stony, I know, and good luck to them if they're enjoying it. Crack on.
So, Nick, what happened? So, a
What
little
happened?
while ago, we saw some news of you had hurt yourself and involved in an accident.
Yep.
Back in July, wasn't it? End of July.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Do you mind sharing
No,
what
I'm very
happened?
happy to. Yeah. So what were there? Were 5 of us on the boat. 1 doing surface cover, 4 diving. all pretty experienced divers, and in fact, some very experienced divers. It was a bumpy old day. I mean, it wasn't for the faint-hearted. So we had a meter and a half of sea, and we were bringing glass back, so it was quite a slow ride back with holding the glass and trying not to break anything on the way back. All gone swimmingly. Anyway, we came into for those who know at sea or don't know, at sea pooling we have big stone chines to give a bit of a break for the sea, and lagoons in behind with a sandy beach, and we recover and launch the ribs off of that beach. So we came into that area, and there was some fair bit of power in the sea, and we were sort of looking at it going, this looks not ideal. But then in the corner where we usually beach, which is up in the northeast corner of the bay, a crab boat had just been recovered, and the waves were going either side of it, and that area was actually pretty okay. So we had a bit of a chat on board and decided we'd just do a conventional recovery. Anyway, drove up, four of us jumped out, cock stayed in, turning off the engine, etc. And then it became apparent it was actually a bit bumpier than we thought it was. So I grabbed hold of the painter to do a beach recovery. So you take a turn on the trailer and just haul it out, and then worry about getting it on the trailer once it's out of the beach. The mistake I made, I got myself into what I now call the red zone. So if you imagine the front of the boat like that, it's a triangle, and then your two sponsons coming back down the side, and you've usually got a handle either side at the front, just at the front end of the straight section of the sponsons, right? Never, ever, ever, ever get in front of a straight line between those two handles when you're beaching or launching the boat, because that's the bit where it can get you. You should always stay behind that line. And if you're going to go forward to hook a painter on or something, just reach round and hook it on, and then get yourself back behind it, where the boat, if it's accelerated, can't get you. Anyway, that wasn't where I was. I was in the red zone. And then I believe from the guys who are at the back of the boat, they actually said there were two huge waves that came in from nowhere. And if you imagine, if you've got a rib sitting like this doing, the normal thing like that, if it gets picked up at the back here by a big wave, what happens is it goes up like that, and then it gets driven forward. There's nothing the guys at the back can do, because they just get lifted clean off their feet into not out of the water, but off their feet. So the boat just drove forward. It gave me I knew as soon as I felt it on my side, I thought I am in proper trouble here, because there's nothing you can do with it at that point. You've got 2 tons of boat with a lot of power behind it coming up your back. Now, I don't know exactly how, whether I went over the rollers and through the trailer or just straight under it, but I ended up under the trailer.
Wow.
Which is a great place to be, because the boat can't get you under the trailer because there's a lot of steel between you and it. But somehow in going under it, the boat, it must have been against part of the trailer, caught my lower leg, my right lower leg, and basically fractured the tibia and fibia just below the knee. Fortunately, and I think the wetsuit did me a massive favour. So I was diving in Nova Scotia 7.5 mil semi-dry, one with a dry zip on the back.
Yeah.
Super suits, by the way, really warm. I think the thickness of the neoprene and the tightness of the suit, because it was a pretty snug fit, actually supported the legs, so it was completely contained. So there was no breakout of the bone or anything. It was all inside. But as soon as the next bit I can remember, lying under the trailer, looking down, and the waves were washing the end of my leg like that, and I was thinking, that's not going to work so well. I'm not going to be able to stand up here. So I bellowed out saying, I'm okay, but tib fib's gone. I need a hand. Hauled myself out up the trailer and up towards the tow hook end. And then one of the RNLI guys, and I think one of our crew, dragged me up the beach a bit, which was a little bit sore. The RNLI then went and got some Entonox, which I had to politely decline because I'd just come back from a 1-hour dive. So you won't be putting me on Entonox, because that will not do me any good at all, or potentially won't do me any good at all. So I had to wait around 45 minutes for air ambulance and the ambulance to turn up, actually, and then they put me on the good stuff. And the next 45 minutes, when they were straightening my leg out and putting it back slab, I have no recollection of it. I know what they did. I know what they were doing. I have absolutely no recollection of it at all. The bit I remember sucking on the it's like a vape.
Yeah.
But so I took three puffs off this thing, and you have to breathe out through it as well. It's got a filter on it, otherwise all the people around you get stoned as well.
Really?
Yeah. So I had three puffs off this thing, and I said to the guy, I said, I'm absolutely stoned to, you know. And he said, yeah. He said, are you using it? Okay. He said, now put your finger over the hole so you get a proper hit. So I put my finger over the hole, and that's basically the last bit I remember. Until I woke up. I woke up being carried up. I mean, they put me down on the beach. They were changing over stretching bearers, as it were. I remember being put down on the beach and picked back up and getting into the ambulance. But the other bit in between, which is great.
Did you get recovered by air ambulance or normal ambulance?
No, the air ambulance came out because it wasn't clear, what other injuries I might have had. So there was genuine concern, quite rightly, about concussion, internal injuries, possible bleeding, blah, blah, blah. So they wanted to do proper paramedic check. And also they've got good stuff on board, which is also good from my perspective. But once they checked me over, they said, no, it's basically that needs sorting, and 45 minutes in the ambulance down to the Paget would be fine. Which it was, and they were good as gold. They drove slowly and topped me up on painkillers on the way on the rougher bits of the road and things. So it was all fine. And I actually had the surgery the next day at the Paget. So I will now be setting off the metal detectors at airports forevermore.
So how are you now?
Basically almost healed up. Not quite. There's a tiny bit I had a tiny bit of infection in one part of the wound, so just waiting for that last little bit to heal now. I can get about okay. I can't drive at the moment because I can't reliably do a emergency stop. I still haven't got enough. I probably could. I'm just not confident enough at the moment to do that. And I can get around short distances on one crutch now. I wouldn't want to go any distance yet.
It's all progress, though, isn't it?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
It's amazing how quick it comes. Yeah,
it goes down really quickly, and then it comes back really quickly. And I'll get back there. It's just how many hours I have to spend in the gym. It's one of those things. But one of the things that's come out of all of that is, as a club now, we've done a load of work working up our beaching procedures. And actually changed our breaching procedures slightly. We're just there's a small group of us just finalising that, which we're also going to share with the other tarpaulin users, because obviously all of us use the same beach and potentially make the same errors or different errors. But actually talking to BSAC on a totally separate subject, one actually related to that subject, which is worth mentioning. When we looked back at the boat handling training, whether it's RYA or BSAC or whoever you do, it doesn't actually cover that red zone area issue very well, or at all. And it doesn't really cover the sort of beach recoveries that probably between a third and a half the clubs in the UK use. There's a lot of clubs that don't have the privilege of going into a protected harbour and up a nice slipway, or having their boat on a mooring. Anyone down the East Coast is doing it this way. The guys on Anglesey do it this way. And there's a lot of, when you start talking to the guys in the club who've been doing it since Adam was a lad, there are a lot of techniques, and there's a lot of built up knowledge there that needs to be documented and shared. So we're actually sharing it that way as well. The other bit that's worth mentioning about BSAC, actually, one of our committee got in touch with BSAC because we had my accident and then another rather unpleasant incident with a member of the public a couple of weeks later, and we were worried about people potentially experiencing PTSD, particularly from the other event, but from mine as well. I mean, it's not nice being round a major trauma injury.
No.
And we got hold of BSAC, and they then put us in touch with some of their contacts who are also divers in BSAC, who are qualified psychologists, etc., to say, look, if you're not feeling great about it, give us a ring. And I actually gave one of the guys a ring, and he was super, really, really helpful. And actually, I don't think I haven't ended up with PTSD, but I could have done.
Yeah.
But it was in. I guess the message is, if in doubt, reach out and ask. Because the worst that can happen is you haven't got a problem.
Yeah.
But BSAC have got that support facility, so it's worth knowing that there's a route. There's a route to getting at least an initial bit of support. You'll then get directed off to get some professional help if you need it, but it's a way into the system, which is worth being aware of. And it's a good service. I was impressed that they had it all lined up, and it took a day, and it was sorted. All the people who've been involved have got emails saying, if you want to talk to people, these are the contacts, these are the telephone numbers, yada yada yada.
Well, that's important because the emergency services all have that facility as well for their staff. So, yeah, that's good to know it's out there.
Yeah, I say it affects different people different way, and different people cope in different ways, and supporting that's important.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear you're on the road to recovery.
Very definitely.
Back in the water next year.
Oh yeah. Well, hopefully, yeah. Hopefully early in the year when the water's still cold, even.
Nice and clear.
Well, I'm just ordering my new wetsuit. Being as,
where are you going for?
Well, my old one's got cut off me, so I lost my 7.5 mil semi and my shorty that goes over the top, the core warmer. But then I was talking to a couple because I had the Scuba Pro,
the
Nova Scotia, which is a super suit. Really impressed with it. But the Northern Diver make almost the same suit, but it's a bit cheaper. It doesn't have a couple of zips that the Scuba Pro has. But they can customize them. So basically, I'm having the same suit. So it's a 7 mil rear entry dry suit with a full dry zip, a semi-dry with a full dry zip. But I'm having a convenience zip in it. I'm having 2 pockets rather than one on the front of the thighs for side mounting rather than on the side because they're a nuisance on the side. So I'm just trimming it up.
That's Northern Diver, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks a really nice suit. I mean, it's basically it's 0.5 mil thinner than the Nova Scotia.
Yeah. So are you always in a semi-dry rather than a proper dry, fully dry suit?
No, I go across to semi from about 14, 15 degrees water temperature. Because that's honestly if you put it on properly, you actually need to release it. If you don't, you'll get a really nasty squeeze off it.
Yeah.
And it is damp in it, but when you come up, if you take your underpants off, you can't wring them out. They're damp. They're not wet.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I really like my semi-dry suit, and funny enough, Stoney was 14 degrees yesterday, so it's probably it now for semi-dries for me. But it's really weird. You'll be in it, you'll be lovely and warm, and then all of a sudden you get this little cold trickle go down your back. It's like I'm getting wet, and then I was like, oh, hold on a minute, I am wet.
Which sort of zip have you got though? Have you got a vertical back zip?
Yeah.
I've got a horizontal dry zip with a full neck seal, so I don't get that trickly thing down the back of my neck.
Doesn't happen a lot, but just occasionally you get a little one, and it's like, oh, where's that?
No, I know exactly the feeling you mean, and it's because your seal is broken by the zip at the back.
Yeah.
And if you move your head down onto the side, you get that bleed, and then you get a flush of cold water go down the middle of your spine, and it's just it's not nice.
I did see a couple of people yesterday in semi-dries, but not many. Most people were in dry suits over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I say you can go lower, but 14 degrees. What I'll generally do is I'll be in a 7.5 semi with a 2.5 mil shorty over the top, just for core temperature, and also it just protects the dry zip at the back from chafing on anything. And that's absolutely toasty. But I like my dry suit. I've got a really nice dry suit. It's very, very dry. It's very, very warm. So I'm more than happy to dive it. But it's when you're rib diving, they are just a pain. It's just what you're that much less flexible and movable. And you need the only downside of the semi over the dry suit on rib diving is you've got to take something like a dry rope, because if you're coming back at 20 knots for an hour in a wetsuit, you'll be absolutely frozen to the bone by the time you get back if you haven't got another wind sheet to layer on. But that That's the only real negative I'd say of the semi. But I'd really recommend either Nova Scotia or the Northern Diver. Waterproof do one now as well with a dry suit zip.
Yeah.
It's a completely different experience because you get no flushing at all. There is no. So once you've I mean, literally, when I go over the side, I open the collar to let the air out and give it a proper to get it squeezed down. That lets a little bit of water in, and that's it.
Yeah.
And the water is, when you get out, the water is body temperature. You know, it's whereas with the conventional semis, I found anyway, and it may be my body shape, I find there's always some cavities in them that end up flushing cold water sooner or later. And then you get that what you just mentioned, Ian, that feeling of
You do. And that's when you said about the like having the dry row, that's where I call it, because I like diving in the Farne Islands with my semi-dry, and it's not the water temp so much, although it'd be like 12 degrees, I can deal with that. It's when you're on the boat. If it's blown, like when we were up there in July, every day it was predominantly north wind.
Yeah.
And it was blowing a hoolie. There was only certain sites we could get to up there, because Ron was struggling to get us in because of the wind direction and how strong it was blowing. And I would have dived in the semi-dry, but it's like I don't really want to be stuck right up there all day in a wetsuit and the wind's blowing like hoolie. So
No, it's just getting cold on the surface interval, and then you've got to get back in the water
into 12
cold,
degrees
and
water.
it's not.
Yeah.
No, and you don't warm up properly.
No.
You know, I mean, I did it in when we were down in Cornwall. It was back end of the season, so it was at the beginning of the season or the end of the season. I can't remember anyway, one of the two. And I was doing 3-4 dives a day in a semi. And obviously taking it off, not taking it fully off, but taking it off just for convenience here and there. And you'd absolutely notice on the fourth dive, you're thinking 40 minutes. Maybe we ought to be thinking about getting out now because it's getting a little bit chilly. And that's just because you just don't warm up in the same way as you do in the dry.
Yeah.
If your dry is properly dry, that's the only thing. You know, if you've got a damp dry, then
mine leaks.
Does it?
Has been leaking. Has been back to them, and
where's it coming from? Have you worked it out?
It's coming through my dump valve.
What, the
and
cuff?
On the just above the wrist.
I'll tell you what. Go right. So I've changed mine.
Have you?
You've probably got an apex.
Probably, yeah. I'd say so.
Apex always open. Right. Northern Diver do one that locks.
Really?
Yeah. It's a slightly bigger hole, so it has to be cut out slightly bigger to go in. But it's about a 15-degree anti-clockwise to unlock it, 15 degrees to lock it. And if it's locked, it's locked. Nothing goes in and out because it locks down on the outside of the mushroom.
I think it's on the surface is when it's letting it in.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't feel it coming in when I'm diving. It feels like as soon as I jump in, and then when I'm waiting for like students or whatever coming in, I feel like I'm getting a wet arm again.
And the other thing with the ordinary ones, when you're on the surface on a boat, we always inflate our suits when we're sitting on the rib because it keeps you warm.
Yeah.
You can't do it with a cuff dump even because it all just goes straight back out again. With a lockable one, you just lock it down and then you can blow your suit up.
I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah, I think they're about 15 quid.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah.
But you do have
there's Hydrotech up near Stony who probably fit it if Northern.
Yeah, I mean it's literally it's 2 or 3 mil bigger on the diameter.
Oh, okay.
And then you just got to take off the apex seal washer and put on their washer. Just stick it on, and then on it goes. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same looking thing.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Sounds like worth a go.
Yeah, no, I've got them on both my dry suits and never had a leak off it.
Yeah.
Whereas I used to get leaks off the old one.
Yeah.
Well, it's always good being warm in the water. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we also know you we've seen you on the BBC talking about the whaleback boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that come about? And what is a whaleback?
Right, where to start? So let's start with what a whaleback is. So whalebacks were 63-foot wooden boats built during World War II for various activities. Actually, they were used for submarine hunting. They were used for launching torpedoes and depth charges. Oh, no, not torpedoes, depth charges off. They were used for sea rescue, blah, 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 blah. Extraordinary boats, actually. So they weighed in at about 26 tons all up. 3 550 horsepower W12 aviation engines across the
Wow.
back, 6 tons of kerosene as a fuel source.
Oh my gosh.
What could go wrong? World War II wiring, batteries, seawater, 6 tons of
Being shot
kerosene,
at.
wooden boat being shot at. Oh, and anti-aircraft ammunition on board as well. Of course. What could go wrong with that combination? Anyway, and they topped out. I mean, before they started working out that when they got shot at, the bullets came straight through because it was wood, and so they started putting some protection on the outside. So before they increased the weight of the boats, they'd top out about 40 knots,
God,
which for a 63-foot, 26-ton boat,
Shifting.
it's still shifting. Even today, that's shifting. You know, that is proper going. And poor old boy in the engine room, because there was no remote gearbox or anything. There was someone down in the engine room. Put it in forward gear now. Good donk. Must have been sick as a pig. Down there with 3 of those thumping away. But anyway, that's what the boats were, and they served. Actually, they ended up serving the RAF version. The Type 2s served all over the world. This particular one is a Royal Navy one, which was designed for submarine hunting. Never went submarine hunting. Went straight onto air sea rescue, and spent her war in what's known as Spitfire Alley. So going out of Ramsgate, and her job was picking up ditched aircrew. So essentially, someone would radio in saying we're in trouble. We're going in the water. They'd put up a helicopter, a plane, or they'd have spotters off the beach. They'd give the boats a position, and off they go, and try and find them and try and pick them up.
So many of them pilots went in the drink, didn't they? When they, loads of them. When you, I'm on a few Facebook groups for this stuff, and every day they publish what happened back in 1940.
Okay, and who went down today?
Yeah. And nearly all of them somewhere were lost in the channel.
Yeah, and early in the war, apparently the pilots really weren't interested in the ditch training, because they just said, "What's the point? If we ditch in the sea, we're going to die, because we're 10 miles offshore. We can't swim in. It's cold. It's wet. It's nasty, you know." And so the air sea rescue thing got really pushed by the RAF to say, no, it is worth it, because we've got these high-speed boats that are going to come and help you.
Yeah.
Over the global, I mean, throughout the war, air sea rescue overall, which included things like walrus planes that land on the water and pick crew up as well, and the boats and everything else, saved about 14,000 crew.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people.
Big number.
A lot of people. But this particular one, after the war, she got converted into a pleasure craft. She was down in the Med. In fact, one of our committee members actually was an owner of hers in the 70s, early 70s, bought this boat and took his 3 tiny kids and wife and went and lived on it for 2 or 3 years in the Med.
Wow.
She got arrested for smuggling tobacco into Gibraltar. Apparently there was a whole fleet of these things going backwards and forwards from Africa, smuggling fags into Gibraltar. She accompanied the first person to swim from North Africa to Gibraltar. So she dragged a shark cage, and the person was swimming inside the shark cage, being towed behind. Yeah, honestly, this is all absolutely true. And she did some of the first tagging of sharks in the Mediterranean when people realized they were getting into trouble. Her owner was involved in some of the very early tagging. She was a fish and chip shop for a bit, and called the some Pauling. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Anyway, some stupid name. And actually, Rod Stewart was a regular customer of her when she was a fish and chip shop. So she's had a colourful life.
Yeah.
Very colourful. Yeah, that's amazing.
She's a big old boat, and they're nice old boats. Anyway, the reason why they're called whalebacks, by the way, is in profile. They're a bit, the RNLI all-weather boats. They're low at the back and they come up like that.
Yeah.
So these were the first boats that were basically that shape.
Okay.
Nothing light as extreme as a modern boat, but they had this beautiful line of the lower aft deck coming up, and then you've got the sea keeping capability at the front, and the shallower draft at the back. Yeah, and then she was bought by someone around here, brought back to the UK, got damaged on the way because they lifted her. The people who did the lift did it wrong. They did it with 2 slings, which is madness on a boat that size. Ended up having to go to, can't remember who it was now, who did a good job of replanking it. Ended up in the Broads, and actually she's too big. She's just too big for the Broads. Sadly, got holed at some point. History doesn't relate. Anyway, she went down. Fortunately, in not very much water, so her decks were about. Actually, on a really high tide, they were just under at the back, but basically above. But she was down for about 8 years, sitting in the water.
Okay.
Are
the engines still there?
Yeah, they're not the originals. They were taken out long ago. A pair of diesels of no consequence. I mean, they're believe it or not, they will actually. You could actually clean them up; they'll be fine. But they're not of any
They're
interest.
not the originals.
No, those are long gone. So I got this phone call out of the blue as chairman of the local BSAC club, going, we got this funny old boat, and we're not quite sure whether or not she's got holes in her. Is there any chance anyone might be prepared to have a look? Yeah, of course. Always going for a laugh in December in the Broads. What could possibly go wrong? So got togged up, dry suit. Just going back to the previous subject, definitely a dry suit day, and even a slightly thicker liner. Went in and swam around this thing and said, "Yeah, it's got a few holes in there, but actually not as bad as it could be." And ended up then doing, I think it's about half a dozen dives. So one of the guys had been turning me up nice big softwood cones and some wedges and such like, and then I had a big club hammer with some dive weights strapped on it with cable ties to make it heavier. Visibility, as you can imagine, in 1.5 meters of muddy Broads water was not great.
No.
So it was literally fingertip search, and then when your finger goes in the hull, assess how many fingers you can get in, pop your hand up with the number of fingers that you want, get past a cone, pull the cone back under the water and smack it in the hull. Then get a piece of polythene and staple polythene over the top of that.
Wow.
So did all that, said, boys, we're good to go, put the pumps on it, pump like Billy-O. Nothing happened again. It's definitely coming in the back. I was like, it can't be. I've been over the whole, Oh, go back in, have another look. So in I go, started the transom, and fingers went over the edge of the transom. I thought, oh, there's a hole, but I missed one. Oh no, I hadn't missed one. I missed one both sides, and they were about 1.5 feet high.
Oh no.
They're about 8 inches wide. So I had to put board over that and plug. And then she pumped out. And then we pulled. There's an old sailing technique called fothering. So if you hole a boat at sea and you haven't got anything, you need to slow the water down sufficiently that you can pump it out faster than it's coming in. As long as you do that, you'll stay afloat. So the old way you did it was you bang softwood in, because that would then expand and partially block the hull. And then you wrap a sail around the outside. So you basically take a rope under the hull, pull a sail round, tie it up as tight as you can get it, and then the water pressure will suck it onto the hull. And it won't stop it, but it will slow it right down so the pumps can keep up. And it's called fothering. But if you fother with an impervious membrane, then you're watertight. So we bought an 80-meter by 30-meter pond liner, folded it in half, and myself and one of the other good divers jumped in the water with one end and dragged it under the boat, and then pull it up round the hull.
Good idea.
And batten it all round the deck. And then once you pump that out, it's dry. So
Yeah.
she's been up now. I mean, we got her up in March-ish. She
So it's
started
out of the
floating.
water.
No, she's not out of the water. So we got her floating where she was. Then we managed to raise the money to get her towed, because moving a 63-foot boat in the Broads is a major issue. You need the Broads Authority approval, Broads Authority supervision, 2 towboats, one in the front, one in the aft. It's a big boat to me. So anyway, we moved it to a temporary mooring. So she's at Salhouse Broad at the moment.
Wow.
We're now raising yet more money. So we need about another 10 grand, give or take, to do the big lift, which will be We take her down to a specific location, and then a very large mobile crane lift her up onto a low loader, extended low loader, and then we'll take her down to a shipyard where she will be offloaded and chocked up so that we can clear her out, clean her up, and actually work out what we've got, because you can't inspect. I mean, I'm the only person who's seen the outside of the hull, and seen is a bit of a stretch of the word, sort of felt. But I mean, there is an argument about triggers broom, 3 heads and 2 handles, it still triggers broom.
Yeah.
That's how old wooden boats work. So, there is a lot of it that is actually not bad. There is some of it that is very, very, very soft indeed. It's like put finger through soft.
But it's got history, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've managed to find some really good records. We haven't got all the records anywhere near, but we've got some records now. We've actually got names of people that she saved, names of people that sadly were recovered who didn't make it. But we know that she saved 3 German sailors. We don't know their names. We don't know what boat they're off, but we know that she brought 3 German sailors ashore. She was involved in laying smoke for D-Day. So for D-Day, they were these boats on D-Day were put out that side and said lay smoke.
Right.
And I think possibly when they were recovering people off the beaches as well. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one, but certainly on D-Day and for several days afterward, they were laying smoke. Because they were fast, and you could have your smoke producer on the back, and they could whiz up and down and spread a lot of smoke.
Was it built in time for Dynamo, Operation Dynamo, when they went and picked them all up?
Yeah, it was. And what I'm not sure of is whether, I can't remember seeing that in her records. I can't remember seeing that, and it may be because at that point they would have been worried about the pilots, because they had a lot of planes out at that time as well. So what they did is, if they knew they were sending a load of planes out, they would have these boats already positioned offshore. So it may be that that's why they weren't involved in that.
Dunkirk was June, was it, 1940? So was it made?
Oh no, she's later than that. No, so she's later than that. That would have been the previous generation of boats. So that would have been the Type 1s.
Okay.
So she was built. You're absolutely right. She was built 41.
So it was just a year after.
Yeah, she was built 41. And there was a different class before her. But she was definitely involved in the other end, in the D-Day stuff. But all kinds of weird stuff. I can't remember the details. There's something about, she was doing something with the post office as well, to do with marks. They had all kinds of things they got up to with these boats. But they were very much loved by their crews. I mean, the one of the problems with them apparently was they were much stronger than the crews. It's one of the things I had to try and explain. So we were at Duxford collecting money, and it was shocking how many people who love old Second World War planes had no idea that there even was an air sea rescue service.
No.
And you think, guys, the people that fly your planes that you love, these are the guys that went and got them when it all went pear-shaped. But then when you pointed out, they went, yeah, obviously, yeah, because planes, you can make a new one. Pilots, not so much, But one of the things about these boats is they're incredibly fast. They're incredibly powerful. And one of the things I have to keep explaining to people is, actually, there's only 10% of the days of the year when you would have been able to open those boats up to full power. Because anyone who's driven a rib or anything in rough weather, it's your crew breaks before the boat.
Yeah.
And the art of getting there quickly is not just giving it some. It's understanding how to ride a wave and when to put the power on and take it off and all that sort of thing. So the problem they had was they broke the crew, not the boat.
Especially a big boat like that.
That's a lot. It's a lot of power.
And is it all divers involved in the recovery now?
No, it's not. It's all sorts. So we've got people. We've got the grandson of the guy who designed these boats.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. We've got 2 naval architects, which is really useful because they actually understand how boats go together. We've got a guy whose father served for I might get this wrong, but I think it's 26 years he was with the Royal Navy. And he served on these boats and their successors and various other boats. We got a guy who just happens to live locally and got dragged in, as you do. There's a couple of divers, who got dragged in.
Yeah, but it captures you then because you've got that history, and yeah, you're just bringing to life something that not many people know about.
No, and once you've started it, you kind of go, well, I can't leave it now because
No.
now we've got her up and she's floating. Now we've got to get her on land. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fascinating. It's fascinating historically, and actually technically, it's quite an interesting thing. How do we stiffen the hull to make sure we don't break it when we lift it, and how do we keep her safe and moor her, and so it's. But raising the money is the big challenge.
And how are you doing the raising of money?
I think, I mean, we're doing all the obvious, the usual GoFundMe, etc. Actually, I think we're using Just Giving. So if anyone's interested,
yes,
find
we'll
us,
put the link in the show.
Yeah, find us on Facebook and go to the Just Giving page. But I think we're going to have to go to lottery funding because it's just a big sum of money to raise. And the people who are really interested, who are close to it, have all given once, and that's got us halfway there and has got the boat to where it is. Going back to the same well.
Yeah, it's tricky.
It's tricky. People will give a bit more, but you can't just keep expecting the same people to cough again.
Yeah, that's right.
And also we need, once she's out the water, we can relax and take a bit more time about it. But we really don't want her in much longer because it's not doing her any good. Once she's out, we can manage her. So lottery funding, it's not a big sum of money for the lottery. So I'm currently filling in all the joyous paperwork.
I bet.
Yeah, but again, it's part of UK. Well, it's history, isn't it? It's not just UK. It's involved in all nations.
Yeah, and the Lottery Heritage Fund. The clue's in the name.
Yeah.
It is. This is heritage.
I saw something on LinkedIn today about applying for grants for stuff for community. Could that come under like a community type grant?
It might do. I mean, it depends. You can bring different aspects into a grant application because you can make it into community by involving a group of people who are a community who are doing it and supporting that community. I mean, in the long run, in the restoration of her, whatever we finally decide, because we have not concluded exactly what route. There are several different routes we could go with the restoration. But one of the aspects of that, for example, is to have apprenticeships for people to learn boat building skills.
Yeah.
And that'd be part of the benefit to the community. It's not just ending up with a nice boat.
Dying art.
Absolutely, it is. And this is a particular style of boat building. It's called double diagonal. I won't bore you with the detail. It's a particular style but it is still used as a boat building technique. But it's a great place for people to teach because we're in no hurry. If it takes you another week because you're not the most experienced, we don't care. It's about getting it done right. So it's a great opportunity for teaching people. So you can apply for all kinds of grants. You've just got to look at what that criteria is and work out whether there's a way that the project can reasonably satisfy those requirements. The Heritage Lottery would be about educating the general public in terms of ASR and the specific roles of these boats, and most specifically the history of this boat and the heritage, the fact that the preserving of, there are only a couple of boats of this style left. That's it. All the rest are gone.
Yeah.
So you lose this one, that's it.
Yeah, so it's super important.
Yeah. It's important. It's important to honor.
Later.
If you find something, whack it across to me. I
was reading something this morning and about grant, and I'm trying to think where I saw it. It was on LinkedIn that I saw it.
Yeah, or if any of the listeners out there, have got any ideas, then
Oh yeah,
and DM.
Anyone out there who's a professional at writing Heritage Lottery applications or is up for a bit of helping with fundraising, would be. In fact, anyone who's interested in getting involved, look us up on Facebook, look us up on our website. Basically, search for ASR Whaleback, and you'll find us. And
I tell you, welcome. Another thing you could speak to is Have you been up to view the Lancaster up
I
at?
haven't yet. I do want to. It's an
They've been
extraordinary
raising a lot
thing.
of money
They
as
have.
well, and that they might be able to give you a bit of help and
I think,
advice.
no, I think we've looked at how they've done it, and they've done it really, really well. I think what they've done, which will work, so we've kind of got ours in three phases. The first one is get her out and get her safe, which is actually, in the scheme of raising money, it's not a huge amount. It's 10, 15,000. We've then got a next phase, which is get it clean, get it preserved, and work out what the hell it is,
Yeah,
and work out what you're going to do with it. That's the really difficult bit. What form of restoration, how much restoration, what's she going to end up looking like? How are you going to do it? How much is it going to cost? Who's going to do it? All that stuff. Once you've got that and you've got a real plan that says we are going to make this and it's going to do the following, then you can do the sort of thing that they were doing, which is they were having like raffles, they were having dinners, they were having fetes, they were all of the classic. But it's really difficult to do that when you're saying, well, we've got this pile of rotten wood that's wrapped in a pond liner, and we'd like you to give us.
well, you know
And,
you need to
and when we
speak
get
to,
it
don't
out,
you?
we're not sure what we're going to do when we get it out yet because we haven't actually been able to inspect it and work out what's possible.
Yeah,
You
it's
know who
funny.
So
you've got to speak to?
go on, who have I got to speak to?
The Mary Rose.
Oh, did you see how they
What's
went?
Doctor?
Alex
What's her?
Hildred.
Alex Hildred. Have a chat with
I
her.
Yeah, that was an extraordinary recovery. Did you
I tell
see
you,
how
that
they
would be
did that?
right up her
Did you
street. I
did you
bet
see
you.
that recovery? That was
Yeah, yeah,
extraordinary.
yeah.
Huge
And
cradle.
when you go down and see the Mary Rose, I've been down there with Ian and then with my parents, and it's just you just kind
Extraordinary.
of are in awe of.
They know all about preserving
So I
wood
tell you
out
that
of.
well, the techniques they use, we actually can't use because they're interested in preserving a delicate rotten structure, and it's still a
Mm,
delicate rotten structure. It's not
Yeah,
basically anything that's delicate and rotten. We need to cut out and replace with nice solid modern wood. Exactly the same wood, by the way. It's just,
yeah.
but it needs to be solid. But the one I can't remember the name of it now. Is it it's either in Sweden or Norway? That one that went down where they've got basically the whole boat because it went down in the Baltic, which is really, really cold.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
preserves
And
it really well.
I mean, the Mary Rose is magnificent, and I'm not taking it away from them because it's an extraordinary thing. But this one, I've never been to it, and I would love to get. But they've basically got the whole boat. I mean, everything,
Mm,
the cannon, the lot. Was it? Did they? I think the story was they built this boat, and then they decided they'd put another deck on it, and they took it in, they put another deck on it, took it out, and then did they? And then I think it just rolled over the first day out. It just went, nah, too much at the top, gone. Well, that was the Mary Rose. Mary Rose. The theory on the Mary Rose, I believe, was that they had it overladen. They fired all the guns on the one side, and then on the rollback, she washed in through
mm,
the whatever the gun gates are called, the flaps in front of the gates, and swamped her
yeah.
because she wasn't that far offshore, was she?
No,
Few hundred meters,
yeah,
Mm,
and it was lost with pretty much all hands.
yeah. It
yeah.
went down really quick
Yeah,
in
incredibly
segments.
quick. Yeah,
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
Well,
Going back to the Lancaster,
yeah,
Freedom's on Freedom's wings.
yeah.
Um, the lifting of that was done by by a company. I can't remember the name of the company. I'm pretty
Yep.
sure if you Googled, but the guy who owns that crane,
Hmm.
his grandfather was served, and I think he was
Oh, that's
he
interesting.
sat in the back, the real brave place to sit in the
Oh,
Lancaster,
that
right
is
at the back.
interesting. Yeah, because I mean, you won't be surprised to hear that lifting a boat like this is not a cheap exercise.
No, I
So
No.
bet.
someone who might give us a better price would be interesting. The other, it's not just about the crane as well. It's about the specialist knowledge of actually lifting boats.
Yeah.
So the company we're working with at the moment, or our preferred supplier at the moment, um, is a sort of nationally recognised boat lifting. They don't just do boat lifting, but they do boat lifting.
Mm,
And I mean, it goes to the detail of we know where every one of the 6 slings are going to go, how wide the slings are, and exactly where the reinforcements on the inside of the boat have been added to support against those slings. Because we're that concerned that when we lift her, the crushing load on her. So
Yeah.
it's very, very detailed. And by the way, we still may damage her lifting her. In fact,
yeah.
I'd be surprised. We will damage her. Sorry, let's be honest. We will damage her lifting her, but hopefully only a little bit damage. But there is a risk that we'll do quite significant damage. But you can still put it back together again.
Yeah.
Trigger's broom, you know.
Triggers broom.
Just remember Trigger's broom. It's a great analogy for old wooden boats and old Spitfires and old Lancasters. They're all rebuilt like that. You know, there's hardly a rivet left in any of those things that are original because they have to keep them safe. I mean, come on, they're what, 80 years old? Would you want any of the original rivets in there?
No.
No. Yeah, you want
No.
new ones.
It's an exciting future ahead.
Yeah.
So,
It's keeping us out of mischief. It is keeping us out of mischief. And actually, you know, conveniently, there's a lot of paperwork to do at the moment, setting up a charity, getting it registered with the Charity Commission, lottery, grant funding, all that stuff. Well, I can't get around so much, so
you're in the right kind of place.
Guess who gets to do
Not
all
the
the
place
admin?
you want to be, but yeah.
Yeah, the boys are out there doing all the structural stuff on the boat. Guess who gets to do the admin? Yeah, Nick. Could you just? Yeah, of course I can. Anyway.
Yeah, well, it's a great story, really great. Yeah, so we'll put all the links into the show notes so people can find out a bit more and about donating as well.
We save it. So
and equally, if people want to come along, if people want to get involved, it doesn't have to be financial. They can, you know, people can get supported in whatever way they like. And we've got people who are just spending their time researching it.
Yeah.
You know, we know there's a load of records at Kew, and none of us have got time to get down there and dig them out.
Have you got any pictures of it we could then share on it when it comes to it? Yeah, that'd be good.
We can grab anything you like off the website, off Facebook or the website. And if you see something that you can't copy in, just ask me and I'll bang it across to you. No problem at all.
Brilliant. Okay, we better ask our set questions.
You put you on the spot.
Yeah, let's put you on the spot a bit. So first off, what gets you out of your comfort zone?
Out of my comfort zone.
Doesn't have to be diving; it could be anything.
In what respect? Out of my comfort zone? When I feel when I
what
not
makes you a bit
myself?
nervous?
When I get
challenged.
a bit nervous. Well, I mean, yeah, it's an interesting question. I guess when I'm diving, when something not just unexpected, because unexpected stuff happens and it's okay, but unexpected stuff where you're going, oh no, this actually could not, this really might not be good. I actually need to concentrate now. That stuff. Being hit by a 2-ton rib, that got me out of my comfort zone.
That does.
That got me out of my comfort zone. Yeah, it's I guess it's when I don't push it. I try not to push it. I mean, you always do. You do push it. I try not to push it, but it's that moment of realization when you go, "Oh, actually, we might just be the wrong side of the line this time." You need to count to 10 and think carefully before you do whatever the next thing is you're going to do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's good. So, if you could take 3 people under the water with you, they could be past, present. They don't need to be divers. Who would you take for that experience and why?
Wow. Okay. I'm going to be really pedestrian, actually. I'd take my parents, both of them, for very different reasons. They're both love it. My father would be deeply concerned from a medical point of view because he was a doctor and knew people who got bent when diving was in its infancy. But he would adored it in one way, and my mother would have adored it in another way. Both of them, sadly, not with us and never experienced it. Third person. Anybody. I tell you what, and this is sort of different answer. I love taking people down for the first time who hasn't seen it before, and it doesn't really matter who they are. If they come back up with a big silly grin on their face and go, "Can I do that again?" It's great, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. It has to be someone who's up for it. It doesn't matter what it is. And most people, if you introduce them properly, come up with a big silly grin on their face and go, "How do I do some more of that?" You know, which is quite special. I can hear Inga coming upstairs with my supper, by the way. I'm about to be in trouble.
Okay. Very quickly, what would you say to someone who's thinking about learning to dive?
I would say, get yourself along and do a try dive. Find out if you enjoy that sensation of being weightless, and whether that puts a silly smile on your face or not. If it does, get yourself trained. I very often spend a bit of time going, some of that you might not enjoy that much. You need to keep a sight of where you're trying to get to, because particularly if you're doing it in Stony and it's November and your dry suit doesn't fit very well, you may not enjoy some of it so much.
Yeah.
But I think it's about getting that first experience, but always pick someone that you really trust to do that first experience, because if you go with one of the Red Sea scuba drowners, where all they're trying to do is get you in the water, get a picture, get you out again. You see them with two poor people being dragged down by the regulators. I mean, that's going to put you right off.
Yeah.
It's
That
not
often what's what put people off these tri-dives on holidays.
because they're just.
Yeah.
I say we call them the scuba drowners. There they are, drowning some more scuba divers. Whereas if you go, even if it's just mucking about in a 2.7 meter pool like Crystal, if you're introduced to it gently and you talk through it properly and you get to put your face in and just get used to it, and then go and have a bit of float around, and by the end of a tri dive, very often you've got people trying to swim through hoops and
Yeah.
whatever it is, or trying to do fin pivots. It doesn't matter. Usually they'll come up. Now, sometimes people come up and go, you know what? I felt a bit claustrophobic. I don't fancy it. Fine. You
Yeah.
spent 45 quid. It's not the end of the world,
Yeah.
and you discovered it's not for you. But most people come up. But I think it's about picking the right people to do it with.
Yeah.
To
Having
get
a good
that.
experience, that initial good experience.
I'm
Yeah.
going to ask you a follow-up question.
Oh, here we go. Go on.
Why is it then? And why is it? We see it quite a lot that people go all the way through. They do a tester and they love it and go, right, I want to get PADI or BSAC qualified or whatever. And they'll go through and they'll spend the money and do all that.
Even buy all the equipment.
You never see them again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. The answer is
And
I
the
don't know.
agencies don't seem to be doing much to try and get people to come back either.
The answer is I don't know, Ian. But my gut feel is if you don't have the best experiences, say in let's say you're doing it at Stony Cove and you have got the classic dry suit that's not got the best neck seal or whatever it is, you might push your way through it. If you then don't pretty immediately get with a club or someone who's going to give you some really exciting diving, well, not just exciting, just decent diving, whether it's a shore dive to the Vera or the Rosie or, whatever it might be, you're going to think that's what diving's about, which is basically being a bit cold, not a lot to look at, in pretty poor visibility, with a slightly dodgy bacon and egg butty in between dives, or whatever it might be. I'm being unfair, I am. And I suspect the other thing is, I think a proportion of those get all enthusiastic, then find that actually they're not that convinced about the cold water diving, and they bugger off and they just do blue water, and they sell their gear off and they just do blue water. But I think the transition, and we have seen it as well, where we pick people up who allegedly wanted to come and start doing the stuff that we do. And maybe they didn't have the best first time out on the rib, and it was a bit of a bumpy day. And equally, we have there's one guy I remember first dive he was diving with a really experienced diver. We basically, I don't know what happened to the slack. It was definitely wrong. Visibility was shocking, and it was one of those dives where you weren't diving at all. You're pulling yourself around the wreck for 20 minutes and then came back up exhausted and hadn't seen anything. And then the second dive, something else went wrong. I can't remember what it was. Oh, we missed the wreck. Good, I don't know. Didn't get the hooks in. Ended up doing a drift dive somewhere else, which was all right, but it was a proper bumpy day. So getting back on the rib was challenging for someone with reasonable experience.
Yeah.
He's still diving with us. Absolutely loves it. And if anything was going to put him off, those first two dives were, can I tick? Yeah, completely messed that up from a novice point of view. So it's partly down to the people. But my guts is it's about experience, finding buddies who are willing to, we certainly notice people come through the club if they're linked up with people who take them with them and help them to progress. They do better and they keep coming back. I think it's people and enjoyment is my guess.
I bet you it's as high as 70% of people that go
Really?
through qualify and don't come back.
But is that including the ones who are never going to come back because basically they were training for blue water?
Yeah.
Because what I'm interested in is the ones that think they're going to do cold water, and then as you said,
Most
Gemma,
never
they buy
come. Most
they bought
you
they
never see
bought
again.
yeah, but they bought a twin set. They've spent
Brought their dry suit and
thousands
yeah.
of pounds in some cases, and then evaporate. Those are the interesting ones.
Mm.
Because the ones who always plan to do holiday diving and they've done their training, and you won't see them again because
No.
the only time you might see them again is if they decide to go on a Crystal Seas
Yeah.
trip for blue
Yeah.
water diving. And I'm
Yeah.
sure, I don't know, but I'm sure Crystal has people who dive with them on the blue water
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
who we never see on a shore dive or
Yeah.
on the ribs.
We've met people like that, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
seen people that they literally only do holidays.
Yeah. And
We
Not
sat on a
interested.
table full
We
of them, didn't we?
did. Yeah.
Last Christmas too. None of them dived in the UK.
oh, really? Well, I mean, and good luck to them. It's a lovely,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
lovely kind of diving to do. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to be a nutter and dive in. Well, we
But
actually
it helps.
Well, we did Iceland at New Year one year. We had to
Oh,
break.
what to do Iceland?
We had to break the ice off the rib.
Wow.
Water temperature was 2 degrees. The air temperature with wind chill was -20.
Oh, I remember a certain time at Gildy weren't
Hardcore.
quite as cold as that, but where our hoods and all that froze to
Oh
the
yeah.
metal, and then you got to put it all on. It's like, and the water temperature was like 3 degrees or something stupid. And I remember getting in, and I only had a 5 mil hood, and it was like having an
Oh,
axe to my head.
oh no, 5 mils not enough for that. You need
It
at
was like,
least 7.
yeah.
I've got a 10. I've got a 10 for that sort of weather.
It's all character building.
Oh, is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, last question for
Go
you.
on then. Go on.
Gemma,
last
do you
one.
want to do it?
Is there any sort of nugget of that you've taken through life that has come out of your watery experiences?
Yeah, I think the thing that I would say to anyone is, even though it'll probably never happen, you must plan for it going wrong. So
Mm.
we always carry a PLB, we always carry a whistle, we always carry a spare mask, we always yeah. Never had to use any of those. Actually, I have used a spare mask, but most of those things never ever ever used. But on that one time when you need it,
You've
Yeah.
got
that 200 pounds worth of PLB is going to be the best
Yeah.
£200 you ever spent.
Yeah.
VHF radio, when I'm out on my dinghy, I always carry a VHF radio. And I have been caught out back in the day, particularly when this sort of equipment wasn't so readily available. I have been caught out and been fortunate that somebody's seen me from shore and someone come and help me out. So yeah, it's not the first time I've messed up in the water. I've messed up in the water before when sailing. Yeah, so I guess my thing is plan for the worst. You don't have to be an arse about it. You don't have to look like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
But you do have to think about what is the reasonably unlikely thing that could reasonably happen, and how would I protect myself against that?
Yeah, and we have spoken to divers. I know, you've said before you dive with a buddy, but ultimately you are responsible for yourself and
Yeah.
getting yourself out of trouble. Yeah.
And I do some solo diving as well. So it's
Yeah.
and if you get washed off the back of a rib, for the sake of argument, if you just let go and the tide gets you and you're floating off, you're not with your buddy then.
No.
You're on your own then.
Yeah.
So you need to plan, and that doesn't mean every diver has to be 100% resilient, etc. But just think about it properly. It's not just in the books; it happens for real. And why not? It doesn't hurt. It
No.
really doesn't. Just carry a couple of extra bits of kit. And I guess the other bit of that is make sure they work and make sure you know how they work. So my little PLB, it gets checked every time before we go in for a dive.
Yeah.
We radio check the radios every time before we go out. Don't necessarily need them, but if we do need them, we know they work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's good.
I lied. There is one last question. I thought Gemma was going to ask it.
Gemma,
I
it's
just
your
thought of another
fault.
one.
It's your fault you've
So
asked the
this
wrong
is it. I
question.
promise this is the last one,
Go on.
and then we're done.
on.
So we're going to give you the billboard. All right. So we're going to give you a billboard. You can put a video, a picture, an image, a statement, whatever you like. But this billboard is going to be seen by the whole world.
Right.
All right. What are you going to put on it and why?
Oh my God. Okay, that's an interesting one. I'll tell you the thing I think I put on it right now. So we were diving in Egypt earlier this year. And we were diving exactly the same place in Egypt in 19. And I would simply put a photograph of it in 19 and a photograph of it now next door to each other and ask people if they might start to consider that perhaps climate change is a bit of a problem.
And what did you see?
I hate to say this, but I would not recommend anybody went diving in the Southern Red Sea anymore because it got very badly bleached last year. They had 35 degrees centigrade. I think the maximum the Red Sea corals like is or can tolerate is 33. And many of the reefs were a shadow doesn't cover it. I mean, they were really, really badly damaged. Some of them we literally didn't finish the dives because it was too depressing. It's going, those reefs can and will recover, but not if they get another pummeling next year or whenever the next one comes, because the staghorns and things, they'll recover relatively quickly. But I'm talking the big bommies and brain corals. They were covered in algae. They'd had it knackered. And if we collectively don't wake up and start doing something about it, I mean, while the diving is important, if you see what I mean, it's not the diving. That's a whole ecosystem that is just being destroyed. And we need, just go out round our beaches now. When I started diving, and I haven't been diving that long, for God's sake, yeah, you didn't see spider crabs off this coast.
No.
If you saw a spider crab, it was like, oh, there's a spider crab. There's a spider crab. See them on every wreck, huh? Common as muck.
And look at octopus in the Cornish coast. That is a Mediterranean species, and now
Tom pot blennies. Tom pot blennies were only you used to see them down on the south coast. Never saw them up here, or very, very rarely. They're all over the wrecks now because the winter temperatures aren't as low. It's not the summer warm temperatures. It's the not chilling down in the winter that's keeping them in. I saw a particular cuttlefish called an elegance, I think, because I had to check with Dawn Watson because I really wasn't sure what it was. And once we identified that that's what it definitely was, she said, well, we don't have them up here. They are southwest only. Yeah. So that's in our backyard. Yeah. Those are significant changes. We've got species, invasive species that should not be here. Not that I wish them anything, but it's a sign that that we are destroying the climate and we need to take it seriously. But those, it probably wouldn't work for the whole world, but for anyone who, cares to look, it is so stark, those, because it's not exactly the same bit of the same reef, but they're both paradise reef.
Yeah.
And it was, I shouldn't have got the pictures out while we were still diving, if you see what I mean, the old ones, because we came up and went, it's not as good as last time, is it? Some of it's really, really quite badly damaged. And I thought, yeah, it is. And I got my computer out and brought up the pictures for last time. It's like, oh God, no, it really is terrible. It's shocking. So, sorry, a depressing answer, Ian, but that's.
Well, it's a fact, and it's something, and it's your space, so it is what it is.
Yeah, and as divers, we're bringing that for people to see. But that's been
a dive with a conscience.
If you're not, then you probably shouldn't be a member of our community.
Yeah, got to dive with a conscience.
Yeah, I think so. So.
Yeah, but that's been a great conversation. Lots of variety there, Nick.
Yeah,
and, we've covered loads. So that's it.
Well, I hope people enjoy it.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, they will.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we'll put all the links to where people can find you on LinkedIn, and then about the boat, the Whaleback, and yeah, hopefully you'll get some more interest. Yeah.
That'd be great. Thank you
Yeah,
very
we'd
much.
like to share that. That'd be good.
Yeah. So thank you for being on the BiG Scuba Podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Nick.
Been my pleasure.
Okay, thanks, Nick, for joining us in for this last couple of hours. So it's a big long podcast.
Time flew.
Did actually. We covered
Yeah.
many things. We covered some sailing. We covered diving, how he started.
History.
Some history there, some World War II stuff. How his accident. It's good to see him getting better. And we've also covered the Whaleback boat recovery as well. So and how we can all help. You know, even if we donate £1, that will add up. So we'll add those links to the show notes.
Show notes, yeah. And it's also good to talk to a local diver as well, local to our area. And
Norwich boy.
Yeah, and good that he spoke about safety and redundancy. It's all good housekeeping for diving, isn't it? So,
oh yeah, definitely, absolutely. And it's one of the things that we have to take seriously. So yeah, it's good. And there's some good diving. I never understand why people don't dive in the UK, because you miss out so much. But I do get it why they don't, because the temperatures and it's murky sometimes. But it's not always like that. There's some great stuff.
Yeah, and it's not everybody's cup of tea sitting on a bouncy rib, is it?
No. Have done it.
No, so but
I have to say I do enjoy the bit going off the back.
Yeah, and it's good to hear him, and you can tell his enthusiasm about it all, and it's really good, and probably could talk for hours and hours to Nick.
Yeah, well, he's talking about a subject he obviously loves, so I think we all could. I think.
Yeah, and we've got to remember he only started diving. I don't think he actually said on the podcast, but 2016. So he's only just 10 years or just under 10 years diving, which is
a lot of experience in watercraft and understanding the seas and things like that.
Yeah, and all the conditions.
Sailing. I was wondering when you was going to jump in about your own sailing experience.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look up some pictures. I think there is some video somewhere of me on the trapeze. So yeah, that was a good 18 years ago.
So what did you do? Did you do the what? Is it RYA?
I did the Royal Yachting something. So I did level 1, level 2.
RYA? Is it RYA?
RYA, yeah. So I did that at my local water sports centre over the course. And it was a really fun course to do. I really, really enjoyed it. And then did level 2 and then put myself out as crew. And then that's how I met Peter, and then I met Eric, and then we proper raced in Catastrophe 2. Yeah.
I can't believe they called their boat Catastrophe.
Yeah, it was a Broads Rater that I remembered while we were talking, so I must let Nick know. Yeah, so, and there were 2. The other one, I can't remember what it was called, but another guy owned it.
I can't remember. What did Nick call it? It was a broad something, wasn't it?
Punt, but it definitely wasn't a punt. No, it was a fast boat. But yeah, I'll get all the information and send over to him. And yeah, maybe even put him in contact with Eric, who I used to crew with. So.
Yeah. Well, we wish him a speedy recovery. Sounded
yes,
pretty
I'm
nasty,
sure.
and he's lucky, come out with, he's still able to hopefully get back in the water soon. So.
Well, he's got a few screws and plates in his leg, so hopefully, he's on the road to recovery now. So he's up and about, and that's the main thing. And look where he is. It only happened at the end of July, did he say? Yeah. So so he's doing well.
And it's interesting about this, about the boat, because I've been following that for a while, and there's quite a lot of enthusiasm, I think, to try and save historic stuff, and I think especially when it's been like wartime machinery and vehicles that have got a tail to them as well.
And it's bringing it alive as well. It's a bit like you said about the Lancaster and that monument. It kind of brings it alive.
Yeah, that's not just a monument to all Langosters. That's a monument to a Langoster.
One, yeah.
One that crashed, and that's there for a reason, and hence why, once the port side engines show that they're not running and the other ones are, and it's all done on purpose.
Yeah, and it's a bit like this Whaleback. It's got this amazing story that we didn't even know about, that Nick has kind of enlightened us upon, and you think it's just so exciting.
Yeah, it is. That'd be nice to hear that they're raising enough money to, and hopefully we can help and do our bit to let other people know about it. A bit of luck.
Yeah, but if you want to learn more, then the links are in the show notes. And, if you want to donate a little bit of money to help the cause, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah. We also mentioned Sidemount diving and twin sets and stuff like that. Our good friends at Narked 90, they sell a lot of these supplies and kind of offer advice, especially if you're thinking about, dive computers and technical diving stuff and things like that. Do you know why? Because they are
beyond technical.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they're a great company for advice, servicing equipment, repairing equipment, or taking on a new challenge, an engineering challenge. Yeah, they are the people to talk to.
That's why I'm pointing to their branding on our background.
And it says service that is beyond technical. Yeah. So yeah, do look them up, go to their website, and you can find out a lot more about them.
Yeah. So, all right. If we should say thank you very much for downloading this episode. It's been a long one, and thanks for sticking with us. We often, they're not always long, and sometimes they're short. It depends on what the subjects are and things like that. So this was a bit of a long one. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Give us some feedback if you enjoyed it. Anything stood out for you? If you've got any comments, maybe you got some advice for Nick on how to go about raising this money and things like that. If you've got any ideas, or maybe you've got family who are connected to that boat, that would be really good. Get in contact. That'd be good to hear.
Yes.
And also, if you're listening, do leave us a 5-star review where you download this podcast.
Yes, and do remember there are 200 plus episodes in our back catalogue, and we speak to a range of different people connected to the watery world, the underwater world, on top of the water, by the water. So do go back and have a look and pick some episodes to download and listen to.
Yeah, we are recording like Billy-O at the moment, and they are coming out every 2 weeks. But if you've got a story to tell, you've got a bit of a dive in history, or maybe you even knew, we don't mind. Come on. If you just started out in diving and you want to have a chat to us about it, and you want to give us a brand new diver's point of view, then do raise your hand with the class. Let us know.
We're always interested in people that want to inspire others.
Yeah, so that'd be really good. Follow us on social media, follow us and send us an email, whatever where you want to do it.
Yeah. So I think that brings the podcast to a nice little end.
Brilliant, excellent. So you've been listening to the BiG Scuba Podcast.
Thanks for downloading, and see you on the next one.